on to this week's Street Talk then, and I think I spoke too soon last week when I was singing the praises of current Coronation Street and just how exciting and twisty and engaging and on the edge of a seat it was, because I didn't particularly find this week's Corrie that amazing at all. I don't know. What did you think?
I thought it was right, didn't I?
I think you gave it a bang on the Wednesday
Look, it's
episode.
Christmas. Everything's fine. It's all great.
There wasn't enough that kept me hooked this week. I think it was probably the fact that the Lauren story was back front and centre again that was a bit of a shame. But even the rest of the stories, they just didn't especially grip me. So I don't feel that I've got a whole lot to say about them. We'll see how it goes. Usually conversation comes out of nowhere, even then when there's nothing much to talk about. But yeah, I was just feeling a little bit about it. Next week, hopefully, is going to be a good one. How are you kind of feeling at the moment about anticipating next week's Christmassy Corrie and all its wedding festivities?
Oh.
Yeah, really good. Really good.
I just like to have the week off.
But you can't have the week off. The podcast never stops. Do you think that are you hoping for good things on Coronation Street next week?
Yeah. Why would I not want good things to happen?
No, as in, are you kind of expecting them? I'm thinking...
I don't know, I'm not going to, because too many times I've gone, this is going to be great, and then it wasn't. So I'm going to play a game of psychological torture
It is a bit
on
torturous.
Coronation Street, and I'm going to trick Coronation Street into being good by thinking it's going to be bad.
I really hope that they do something good with this wedding. I mean, it's going to be a bistro affair, so it's not going to be some kind of grand churchy occasion.
Which is such a shame.
It is a real shame.
Really genuinely. But, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in this event. I've got no idea.
No.
But, the only thing I'm thinking is if they had it at a church, they might have had some kind of revelation that would be leaked. At least if it's in studio, they can keep the leaks.
I guess so. I can't remember. I've seen the odd spoiler about next week, although actually I've been pretty good at avoiding them. I don't think they have actually said for sure whether they're actually going to get married or not, whether they're going to go through with it. I mean, I assume so. Marriages aren't like pregnancies on Coronation Street. You got a better hit rate if you're engaged to someone. I'm going to say that it's more likely to end in a wedding than a pregnancy ends up in a healthy baby. Yeah, but she's going to get to the dress stage at least. Yes. Well, I'm not talking about Jessie, am I?
The cat's mother, Gail.
I hope that it all goes well. I mean, Audrey, I think I'm finding this week still being a bit of a cow about the whole thing, and they still not got over that with 2 episodes to go before the wedding. She's still very anti Gail getting married. I mean, is this going to be a last minute? I mean, I'm not expecting in the slightest for Wednesday to roll around and everybody's having a lovely Christmas musical montage and Audrey says, I'm not going to the wedding, and then she doesn't she's obviously going to come round to the idea, isn't she?
She's got to.
It feels a little bit like Bernie and Billy after Paul's funeral, when they could have just kind of let it lie, but in the end they decided to have a bit of an argument between family members just for the sake of drama, and I almost wish that they hadn't. I'd probably prefer the run-up to be a little bit more pleasant between Gail and Audrey. It just feels a little bit forced, and Audrey's there saying, this is one of Eileen's cast-offs, she's married. So what? Yes, Gail has been married 6 times before, and I've enjoyed all the references to that and the jokes that David's been making about it. But yeah, I just think that Audrey should be keeping her opinions on that to herself, or be not written to have those opinions.
No, the reason she's bringing it up is because she's annoyed that she's moving to France. So Audrey's mad, she's thinking to herself, Gail being married is such a temporary thing. Why would she make a big deal about this one and go to France with him when I need her, when it's just another husband that she chucks in the bin?
I get it, but maybe it's a little bit too meta. I mean, you have it with Steve as well, don't you? How many marriages have you had? In real life, with some exceptions, of course, nobody gets married as often as these soap characters do, especially Gail. But yeah, I just think that I'd prefer them to be a little bit more positive about it.
If you really were like Gail and you got married so often as she did, and all of your husbands were dead apart from one, Wouldn't it just be tragic rather than hilarious? Like a funny joke. Like, in reality, you wouldn't be like making fun of her, would you? You'd be like, oh gosh, I hope this one doesn't die.
The thing is, if Jesse was coming across as a bit of a loser or, you know, nasty piece of work or something, maybe Audrey would have cause to feel that way. But actually, what?
Who?
Jesse.
Who's Jesse?
Shut up. What do you mean?
Well, he's not been in it. How do you know whether he's a cad or not?
He seems like it. I think that in the short amount of time that he's been on the show, I am totally buying their love and romance, and that was a hard thing. But you know, we were supposed to be seeing this with Martin, didn't come through, and there was the worry that, you know, they didn't have all this. The thing is, they've been written to have had a little bit of backstory off screen, haven't they, with Gail's holiday in Thailand and the getting to know each other then. But no, I totally buy them as a couple, and I would have thought that Audrey would feel happy about it, and I just think she needs to let her go. If Gail wants to go to France, Audrey has got plenty of... She's not like one of these little lonely old ladies that's the only remaining family member is emigrating halfway across the world, and she's going to be left rattling around on her own. She's got plenty of people. She's got plenty of friends.
I pity a family member that we know who moves to France, because we'd be there every day, and we'd also be like, oh, can you just pop down to Carrefour and grab me?
Yeah, so I'm hoping. I've got good feelings. I've got good vibes about this wedding. I hope it's going to go really, really well for them. I'm also kind of looking ahead at, there's clearly going to be some kind of Battersby clash / revelation coming up next week, isn't there? And I don't know what form that's going to take. I definitely haven't seen any spoilers about that, but I'm feeling quite excited and hopeful, and that's going to sort of spiral into the wedding as well, isn't it?
Yeah, because they're having it there, aren't they?
Yeah. So,
I just realised that.
Yeah, so I guess Gail's... I think there's probably going to be quite a strong possibility that Gail's wedding is going to be slightly disturbed.
What's that, strong Gail warning?
Yeah, I've got a Gail warning in my brain that the wedding is going to be somewhat... it's not going to run smoothly, thanks to maybe something that's going to go on between the sisters. There has also been spoilers / rumours / leaks about something on the Christmas Eve episode of Coronation Street. And this is a bit of a PSA. Don't forget, there is a Coronation Street on Tuesday next week.
So when is it then?
Oh God, I can't remember. I've got it. I put it in the cabin, so it's going to be in the news later. I've got the times again.
You two people, sorry.
Yeah, but I don't know whether it's going to come on earlier at the beginning. But yeah, if these rumours / spoilers / leaks about Tuesday's episodes are true, then I am quite interested to see how that goes. So although this week's Coronation Street, this is just basically a long-winded way of me saying wasn't that great in my eyes, I've got my fingers crossed for next week. But like you said, when you build yourself up for a big week, it's gotta be good. Otherwise, if it's just a bit bog standard, as we say, then it ends up feeling worse than maybe it would be had it not had the hype. So maybe you're right to rein in your expectations and just be pleasantly surprised if it all turns out well. I don't know.
Tell you what, this drink.
Yeah, you have got through, you know, about 2/3 of the glass of this snowball in the time that we've been... This is why Gemma's been sitting quietly while I've been rambling on about Gail's upcoming nuptials.
I love snowballs. They're my favourite thing. I love eggnog lattes and snowballs. This is why I love December. Yeah.
I brought Gemma home a surprise eggnog latte the other day, didn't I? That was nice. Very, very romantic of me.
It is.
It's been sitting in the car for about 20 minutes by the time I got to it.
It was still really nice.
Oh, good.
I'm just going to rest my eyes.
No, we can't rest your eyes a bit. You've got to wake up. We're doing a podcast. We're going to start off with all the plot goings on. I've just merged those stories that last week seemed to spiral differently, but maybe they were the same thing. So we're going to start with the Kit and Run / Plat à Emporter story, which is all things Plat. Then we've got the Lauren and Dee-Dee story. And I've probably used this awful joke before on the podcast.
I know you have.
But I don't care. This is upgraded to storyline title because Frankie, my dear, I don't give a damn. I was just in no mood for any of Lauren's wallowing, misery, heartache. I couldn't be doing with any of that this week. I do not give a damn about Frankie, and maybe that makes me seem really harsh, but he's just a fictional baby, so that's okay. Luckily, having a read around online, my views on this story are shared with a good number of other vocal, outspoken Coronation Street viewers as well. But yeah, blimey,
just
that's
find
miserable,
it
isn't it?
really baffling that, like, as a collective, the decision was made that people must have loved watching Lauren standing over a baby's bed so much that after he was removed from the hospital, they were like, we've got to get him back in. How can we get him back in? People love these hospital scenes with Lauren looking over a baby's bed. I just don't get it because they're not interesting in the slightest.
I'm worried that like Kate Finn's going to have a bad back from all the hunching that she's had to do in the past 6 months.
I also just need to give a shout out to whoever was the police officer, the woman who played the prison guard who was guarding the baby's room, right? He's standing there like she's a member of like the King's Guard guarding the Crown Jewels.
King's Landing.
Why was she standing to attention? You're not a prison. You're not in the army. Why are you standing with your arms behind your back?
What had you been doing? Sitting there with her feet up?
Well, most of the time they literally just stand there or sit there. She could have been on her phone. Also, at one point, Lauren went, "Oh, I'm just going to go talk to the doctor," and went out of the room, and the woman's still standing to attention. For what purpose are you standing to attention for? Because you're not paying above my pay grade. You're not paying attention to what's going on.
That's going to be our second story tonight. We're going to follow that with the Swallow Their Pride story. And there was finally a little bit of pride from Carla this week, wasn't there, when she gave Swain a big smackaroonie on the lips right in front of Sally. That was definitely a moment of the week right there.
You know, Sally's going to be dusting out the old rainbow banners and replacing her Christmas decorations, I think.
Yeah, that was fun tonight. And
everyone's been waiting for that to happen. I was like, oh great, Sally's found out. I cannot wait to see what she says.
Then we got the van story again, which realistically had slightly, but then didn't go anywhere.
I said to you the other day, what's happened to the van?
What's happened to the van? The van is back. Chesney's van. I've called this story Ches Gives Chase, which is a new storyline title for this week. No reaction from Gemma.
Is that supposed to be like Chevy Chase?
No, it's just Ches Gives Chase. Chase.
You'd got more points if you'd said it was Chevy Chase.
Call it Chesy Chase if you like. No, and then we have got a little bit of the return of the Revenge of the Sis story, which is kind of spinning its wheels a little bit this week. While speaking of vehicles,
Sister.
Yes,
I know, but the way you've written it makes it sound like it's the new J.K. Rowling book.
Harry Potter and the Revenge of the Sis. Yeah, Nick's away.
Sally would not be having that, would she? As a proud ally of the LGBTQA plus community.
Yeah. I'm not talking about that, sis.
No, that was my joke.
Oh, okay, I get it.
You get it now.
Yeah, thanks.
Does everyone get it now?
Right. Which story would you like? Would you like to talk all the Platt action, or would you prefer to to tackle what's been going on for Dee-Dee and Lauren?
Do you feel strongly about either of these?
No, I don't mind. You do the Platt stuff.
Okay, so Audrey's still pretending to be ill, isn't she? She had a bit
try and stop Gail getting married.
Gail and to not go. I don't think she cares about her getting married. She doesn't want her to go to France. So she's Gail's got gives Audrey a thermometer, and when she turns her back, she puts it in her coffee to make her look more sick than she actually is. And David's watching this whole thing, like seeing Audrey being a sly old dog, and he just thinks it's funny.
There were some really nice scenes with Gail and Audrey this week, weren't there?
Gail and Audrey.
David and Audrey. I mean, the precinct having their ice creams, and David with his brain freeze.
We'll have to get to it, won't we?
Sorry, I was just anticipating.
Right, so Audrey gets Maria to come around and do a hair trial for Gail's wedding day.
And is that so she doesn't have a hermur on her wedding day?
I've got a heart murmur. Right, she said, this is going to be the greatest day of your life again. And Gail's like, I don't really need this, but really it's a diversion so that Audrey can pretend to go to the doctors, but she doesn't. She goes with David to the precinct to eat ice cream.
Yes. Meanwhile, we've got a bit of Debbie, haven't we?
Debbie and the Warner Brothers. She sees Matty and she chases him and she accuses him of stealing her car. And he says, I don't steal off the elderly. And then he says, if she accuses him again, she's going to regret it.
He warns Debbie.
Yeah.
He hasn't warned anyone yet this episode, so there we go.
Daisy sees this, and then she knows, she's obviously feeling guilty because she's the driver of the car. In the cafe, she drops herself in it a little bit because she mentions to Shona that she was hit by a car and that's why she's got her arm injury. And Shona's like, I never told anybody it was a car. How do you know about that? So Daisy has to drop Kit in it and says that it was him that told her, which then obviously leads to Shona having a word with him about it in the police station, saying, like, how could you have told, why did you tell her my cover story's going to get blown? Is that all she knows? That it's just that it was a car? And he's like, yes, that's all. That's all. He knows everything. Can't believe it. So David and Audrey are at the precinct having their ice cream, but then they spy Shona meeting with Adam, and she gives him a peck on the cheek, or he gives her a peck on the cheek, I can't remember. They're like watching on, but they can't hear what they're talking about. Yeah,
so this is more playing into David getting paranoid that Shona and Adam are having it off, which he's not kind of voiced. Has he voiced those suspicions again this week? I can't remember.
Yeah, he did, but obviously not to Shona. He's told Jesse.
Oh, yes, ever so slightly, hasn't he? So, again, that's probably going to raise its ugly head again in the near future, that he's suspicious of her. I'm not really loving this angle of it. I'm still trying to get my head around the fact that Shona did have a one night stand with Kit, and it doesn't sit right with me that her character would do that. So I'm not. I kind of hope that part of it.
Well, Kit's told Daisy they're going steady now.
I know. But yeah, those precinct scenes were fun. That was David having his brain freeze with the ice cream, wasn't it? This is when we were sitting with Rachel watching it, our friend Rachel, who says she's never had brain freeze before in her life. Can you believe it?
No.
Anyone else not had brain freeze before?
I didn't know that was a thing.
You got a super brain that's like heat proof. Well, not the opposite of heat proof. Cold proof.
Well, she and her twin sister do sneeze when they see the sun.
Oh, maybe it's linked.
So, okay, so Shona's in the pub later, and she's complaining about having a headache and the fact that she's got a bad wrist. And Daisy's getting really paranoid and wondering whether she's got some kind of brain injury. And she's like, you should go and get that checked out.
Brain injury?
Yeah, because she's got a headache from being hit by the car.
Yeah, well, she's already had a brain injury.
I know, it could be even worse. It might have dislodged something. So she's like, it sounds pretty bad. You should go to get it checked out. And Shona, this was really, really silly. But, I mean, Shona is a silly character. But even so, this was a bit ridiculous. Shona's like, I'm suspicious. Why are you acting so guilty? I think you've got something to do with this.
Yeah, it was a little bit clunky the way
it was a bit like the writer went, I can't be bothered. I'll write something different later. And then they never filled it in. I don't know who wrote this. Daisy takes Shona to the back and says, look, it was me driving. Please don't report me. And Shona says, you've got no right to ask me not to report it. So she storms off. Kit comes into the pub later, and he's mad because Daisy tells him that Shona knows about the CCTV, about the accident, and he says, if people find out I've deleted this CCTV footage, I could get in a lot of trouble. Now this is really interesting to me because it really feels like Kit is supposed to be a regular character, like not a regular as in I've got a year contract, but like they're setting him up for being around for a while,
a long-termer.
But how is he going to get away with the fact that every time he does something bent coppery, everybody knows about it? The only thing he's got secret that nobody knows but us, is the fact that he took Joel's notes.
Oh yeah, he did still do that, didn't he?
But we when he deleted the...
Sorry, it was Nathan's notes, wasn't it?
Yeah. Nathan's notes. He took that.
But even Craig... Does Craig know that he...
And he deleted He deleted his red car off the database. We know that, and nobody else knows that. But Sarah knows about the hair, and now Daisy knows about the CCTV.
I think the stuff with like
how much is he going to do?
Deleting himself off the database. I think that was more in the end just for us to be still wondering, was it Kit who killed Joel? I don't think
it's going to come up again.
To be brought up again. But yeah, he's seeming to be getting away with an awful lot, and you're right, there is only so much that somebody can get away with that. I can't say for sure whether I think that he's going to be a long-termer or not.
No, I don't. When he first came in, I was convinced he was, only in it for a limited amount of time, but...
Yeah, well, he's definitely getting his feet under the table with a wide variety of characters. I mean, he barely has anything to do with his actual family, does he? There was a scene, I think it was this week, where Gemma's talking to him about Paul, or I can't remember. But, I think that he is just going to, in the end, be caught out, and all his all his lies are going to come crashing down on him.
But it's fine though. Well, from the point of view of him being a character in the show, because he's not in the show because he's a police officer. He's in the show because he's Bernie's son.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter whether he's
even
a
if he
policeman.
loses his job.
Yeah.
But I wonder whether if it all comes out public knowledge that he's a bent copper, whether his friends, for lack of a better term, in the street would be forgiving of it. Well, just people like Daisy. But the locals, I don't think they'd like the idea of I wouldn't like the idea of a bent copper sharing a drink with me.
I've told you a million times he's bent for justice. You know that if he explained why he did it, people would be able, especially Bernie would be proud of him. She probably said something like, it never sat right with me, son, that you were a copper, but now I know you're a bent copper.
I think it might be more interesting to have an arc next year where it just spiral out of control a little bit more. Now that, especially now Joel's out of the picture, there isn't, a go-to Corrie villain for 2025 lined up. I mean, there doesn't have to be a villain, and I'm sure that some people would welcome a year where there wasn't a big name. But it's been a while since Corrie's had a year like that, and I'm more likely to think that he's going to go down that route. And he's done lots so far that's bending the rules a little bit, but it wouldn't surprise me if he does something next year that's absolutely out and out, kind of unforgivable and outrageous, and then that will eventually catch up with him. And maybe I don't know, Daisy has to try and keep a secret for him. I don't think he's going to kill anyone necessarily, but especially if I don't know how long that this he's got a secret for Daisy, although Shona knows about it now, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know. I think he doesn't, to me, feel like a long-termer.
Oh, okay.
But
I mean, I'm thinking of him not as a villain, but more of an antagonist, and along the same lines as like a Len Fairclough or a Mike Baldwin, in that they make life difficult for people, but they're not actual villains.
But I think that they were more charming. I've said already that I don't find the character of Kit especially charming or likeable in the same way as some other people do, and I certainly did find that for Len and Mike. But I don't know. Who knows? Maybe there could be something coming up next year that'll help me to get to like him a bit more.
So he's worried he might get into trouble.
Yes. He should stop doing naughty things then, shouldn't he? Eh?
David gets home later. He says Dr. Gaddis has arranged for some more tests for Audrey. And Shona and Jesse believe him. Why wouldn't they?
I was when David said that he was going to take Audrey to see Dr. Gaddis on Monday, I was getting myself a little bit excited about a potential Gaddis cameo, but alas, she didn't make an appearance, did she?
Would that be a Gaddasio?
No.
Oh. So David says to Shona, everyone's at the precinct these days, but she doesn't take the hint.
Mm. See, this is the other thing, and I saw some people mentioning this online as well, and I agree. Shona, she met up with Adam to talk, legal stuff and arm breaks and all that kind of stuff. But the fact that she gave him that peck on the cheek, again, Shona doesn't, to me, strike me as the sort of person that would greet a casual acquaintance with a peck on the cheek.
Shona seems like the sort of person who, if you moved to France, would go, oh, they kiss each other on the cheeks.
Yeah, I would say she's more of a fist bump or just like a little casual wave. But it's obviously been set up to help the storyline in which David suspects her of having it off of Adam. But yeah, there's just a bit too much where in this story Shona is acting in ways that at least don't gel with how I think that she would act. But
well, she's disappointing you. Anyway, she rushes off. She says, I've got a message from Roy, but it isn't. It's Kit. So she meets him in the cafe and she confronts him about how he's covered up the fact that Daisy ran her over. And she's also saying, I don't think Daisy's very sorry. She just feels guilty. She's not upset. I'm going to go and tell the cops the truth.
One of the good cops, that is, and she knows.
And he says, look, it's not worth you blowing up your marriage to wipe the smile of Daisy's face. Keep your mouth shut about this. Later on, David's in an arc with Shona and tells her that he knows that she saw Adam in the precinct and wonders why she didn't say. And she says, "Oh, I just forgot. No biggie."
Yeah, that's the episode. Yeah, that was them having a little conversation outside, wasn't it? And then at the end of the episode, the camera pulls back and there's somebody watching them. I think it must have been Matty. I don't think it was ever.
Matty.
Yeah, oh, was it? I couldn't remember whether it was officially revealed that, but Matty's the one that kind of comes into it the next day. Are you expecting this time next year for David and Shona to still be together? Will they have got over and through this?
I really want them to stay together because I think they're a great couple, really.
I think it would be absolutely insane to break this couple up, because considering how few couples do seem to last the course, and David and Shona have been going together for 8 years or so, but that doesn't mean they're getting tired.
But this is a new producer thing, isn't it? Sometimes when new producers start, they're like, well, how can I set the cat amongst the pigeons? I'm gonna split somebody up. I'm gonna sack people.
Yeah, but I would hope that you don't just go randomly firing your pistol and seeing who it hits. I think David and Shona are very, very valuable as a couple. But with what's been going on so far, in a very short amount of time, I would say they've both done some fairly unforgivable things. But then their relationship always has been a little bit volatile, hasn't it, anyway? And Shona has made it very clear on a few occasions, like, we're not going to split up over this, David. She's done the whole, look, we promised that we'd stay together. We're staying together. Just let me blow off steam. And who's done the worst thing out of him and Shona? I'd probably say it's still Shona. The fact that she's literally been unfaithful with Kit.
But David wrote a note and pushed Clayton so far that he tried to kill himself.
Yeah, and Shona knows that now, doesn't she? And he was gaslighting her,
yeah,
and he hid the emails, and he's also
stolen money.
Yeah, she doesn't know about this stolen cash, cash stash.
She did a very normal soap thing, which is to have a one-night stand.
Is that going to be the excuse that she uses? It's just a soap thing,
just
David. You know, you've been in this for 30 odd years.
You should know now.
So it does feel to me that at the moment she has got no intention of splitting up with David, because she does still love him. And I don't think that David, I don't know, if he found out about her sleeping with Kit, if it was just the once, would he forgive her?
Well, he has to, because he's the one who told us she had a brain problem. She can just use that excuse.
But depending on what kind of mood you're in, you might say that a one-night stand with the local bent copper trumps anything, really. But I mean, David, I don't think he's going to be hooking up with anyone else anytime soon. He's onto a good thing with Shona. Although he did nearly get into Alina's pants that one time, didn't he? But I wouldn't risk it, David. I'd say just hold it against her forever and keep that relationship going. I'm hoping that they're still just hold a grudge.
Like how a healthy marriage survives.
The best marriages are built on grudges and blackmail.
Yeah.
It's mutually assured destruction, isn't it?
Mutually assured divorce.
Yeah.
Right. So on Wednesday, Matty and Logan confront David as he comes out of the house, and they say to him, "You've got the money. You've got Callum." No, whose money is it?
Harvey's money.
Harvey's money.
This was very much that hasn't been mentioned for a little while, and I'd also forgot that they'd been working with Harvey as well. But Logan, Logan, when he was raiding Sarah's flat, that was a month and a half ago, maybe. He was on the phone to Harvey, wasn't it? I'd totally forgotten that they were in his pocket.
I only just remembered.
So when they brought that up with David, I was like, oh, we're going down this little angle for a little bit, are we? So there was an awful lot of the Warner Brothers kind of glowering over people. Like they're pretty massive, aren't they? Those two lads.
They're much taller than you think they are.
I mean, I know David's a little short ass like me, but even so, they've got a bit of height. Although I showed you this article yesterday, didn't I? Was it this morning? I can't remember. Jack P. Shepherd had done an interview. I think he must have done it when we were at the set last month, because we did have the opportunity to sit in an interview with Jack P. Shepherd, and we didn't
with anyone.
Oh yeah. After we stayed and listened to the Kate Brooks interview with the other journos, we then went off onto the street while some of the other actors came in, and
well, we thought that would be too many spoilers.
we didn't want too many spoilers, but yeah, we did go out of the room, and Jack P. Shepherd was there waiting to go in, wasn't he? So we had a few moments with him, but I think that this must have been when he said it. Anyway, what the point I'm getting at is he'd said that in the original script, David was supposed to look really intimidated and scared of Matty and Logan here, and he takes one look at it and said, they wouldn't be scared of them. No. I'm not looking scared.
David's not scared of anything.
No, he'd just be like kind of annoyed at them. So I quite like that side of it. I don't know. Do you think that they're particularly scared? I think I'd be scared of them, but then I'm not as tough as David is.
I think David has worked himself into a height of supreme sarcasm. And so he can't feel any emotions authentically anymore because he doesn't know what's real and what's a joke.
There's also the fact that David has been through an awful lot. You know, he's been driven into a canal. He's been beaten up countless times. He's
been assaulted. He's been in prison riots.
Exactly. So I think literally nothing phases him. And yeah, maybe these two teenagers, or however old they're supposed to be, looming over him, maybe that wouldn't be enough to shake him. I just thought it was great that Jack was like, no, I'm not looking scared of these guys. It's lovely to hear what times when the actors say,
have a bit of input.
Yeah, I don't think my character would do that. And I think Jack's probably got enough clout that he would be able to do that.
I also wonder whether this was written before they were cast. Because Logan's got, he's got those sinister cheekbones. But Matty doesn't look scary.
I don't know.
Matty's the one with the chin, right?
I don't know.
Cleft chin.
I don't know. I've not looked at that chin.
I just don't find him physically intimidating, so I don't think I'd be scared.
I was watching him thinking he was...
Do you want a biscuit?
I think I'm just a big coward. If somebody stood over me and demanded I gave him back the money that I'd stole, I think I'd just
it's
crumble.
easier just not steal money, isn't it?
Yeah, but yeah, David in this scene on the beginning of Wednesday, just like I don't know what you're talking about.
And then he goes back inside, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's right. He comes out of the house, sees them, and then goes back in like as if it's like.
It was just I was just seeing how cold it is.
The milkman's been.
But so they know he's supposed to be going to work, so they go and sit in there and tell Audrey that they're mates of David's, and so she makes them a cup of tea. And so they lock the door, and David turns up half an hour late. And this was funny because he obviously Jack P. Shepherd said, "Oh, don't think David would be scared," but he was scared enough to stay in his house for half an hour hiding.
Yeah, I mean, he'd probably changed his pants, wasn't he?
Probably, yeah. He comes in, and he's obviously not expecting them to be there at all.
I'm surprised that Audrey entertained these two goons for half an hour without any other customers coming in. Like, what would she have done otherwise?
Audrey there when there's nobody. How many people are really walk-ins on a Monday morning or Wednesday morning?
Yeah, well, I get the impression that the salon is by appointment only.
Yeah. Anyway, so they just have a cup of tea, and then when David comes in, he has to go along with their story, and he asks them to have a word outside with them. So they go outside, and Logan says, "Look, Harvey wants his money. He wants it now." And David says, "He can't have it. I've put it down for a deposit for a house," which is like probably the most responsible thing anyone's ever done with stolen money, is to put it down for a house deposit for a mortgage.
Very grown-up thing to do, yeah. David. Well done.
Matty says, "Well, if you can't pay, we're going to have to go after your family." And Maria's watching, and she can, from the other side of the street, seeing what's going on.
I wonder whether they're going to have anything going on at the wedding. I kind of really, really, really hope that they've got nothing to do with it. I don't need these two goons to have a Gail wedding. It really,
should be about Gail.
It should be about Gail. There's a level of respect that you got to give that kind of ceremony, however many weddings she's had. And I think that having these two, Z-list characters coming in, no offence, Matty and Logan, but you're only new, you haven't earned your stripes yet. You got potential maybe, but I think
got to put the time in.
The big Corrie weddings, you want to look back at on the clip shows, and you don't want people to be looking at it in 2 years' time, exactly, and said, who's that coming in and bursting in on Gail's ceremony?
So, David goes and makes, a phone call to the building society for his deposit back and saying it's a family emergency and he needs it. And Jesse comes in because he's going to go pick up the wedding rings that he's bought for him and Gail. And David says, "Oh, I'll go and get them for you." So Jesse's very grateful.
This is obviously David's scam.
So David meets up with the Warners in Scally's Alley and gives them the rings, and they're like, "This isn't money," and he's like, "These are worth a couple of grand easily." So they take them. And they say, "Well, we're coming back for more, that you haven't paid it off yet." But he says to them, "I need a favour before you go."
Yeah.
And I was thinking, what on earth could be?
No, I knew what this was. And this is such a David thing. Do you remember when he went through that period about, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, where he used to antagonise people and then run away from them to get kicks? And he had that little story for a while. You remember that
Getting
one?
some adrenaline.
Yeah, he had that adrenaline junkie story.
Well, this was a different reason.
I think he doesn't feel pain.
Yeah,
I think
maybe.
he's dead to it.
So
it's a superpower.
David's favour was for them to give him a punch around the face because he goes back to number 8 and he's got a black eye, bust lip, and he tells them that he's been mugged.
That's a bit of a tropey cliche move, I would say. Don't you think?
You got to pull these off.
I know that soaps are just made. That there's never anything original done in soaps these days. But the old I've been mugged. I think.
Oh, I've been mugged.
I think that if I was a soap character, I might be suspicious of that. Because whenever anybody says they've been mugged on Coronation Street, I'm going to say 50% of the time.
Mugged?
Yeah, 50% of the time it ain't. It's fake mugging.
So
they're mugging you off.
He tells everyone that he was set upon by 4 guys. They were on e-bikes. He's called the police. They gave him a crime number in case the rings are insured. And so Jesse goes to look into it. Then we get Shona seeing Kit in the pub later, tells him about the mugging. They talk about it. And Shona realises that Kit has been told a different story because he was told that it was 2 people and there weren't any e-bikes involved.
Why do you think David...
I can't understand why he didn't tell the same story.
The same story. Is it just like when he got home, he was like, I don't want to end up looking like a wimp and saying there was only 2 people that attacked me because I should be able to take on 2 people. Maybe if it's 4 lads, I'll have a good excuse for not giving them a good hiding.
What? And then he forgot what he'd said.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, so
little contrived maybe for suspicion's sake.
Yeah, this was the second bit that felt a bit contrived. The first bit being Shona realising that Daisy felt guilty because she'd the one that had run her over from no evidence whatsoever.
Yeah.
Right, so Shona goes outside and sees Maria, who points out that it's the Warner brothers that have been lurking around and that they had told Audrey that he and David were friends. So she's getting very suspicious. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Jesse is talking to David, going, it's a bit of a coincidence that you got mugged, isn't it? Shona asks him then...
yeah, he does kind of see through it slightly, doesn't he?
About what's going on, why are all these stories conflicting with each other? How come Maria saw you with the Warner brothers? What's going on? She said that you were friends. I know you're lying. Please, can you tell me the truth? So he tells her everything. And she's completely fuming, saying... She's going to have to go to the police station and tell them. And he tries to stop her, but she flounces out and goes to meet up with Kit, tells him everything, and tells him that Kit needs to get the Warner brothers to back off, but do it off the record. Otherwise, I will tell everybody what I know.
It's just more blackmail.
I know, it's blackmail. She's like...
Blackmail upon blackmail.
Shona says, I know that
Corey.
Daisy hit me and you owe me and you'll get in trouble because you deleted the CCTV, whatever. So, Kit...
See, this is why this story wasn't grabbing me quite so much. It was just a lot of everybody, a bit of a Mexican standoff, wasn't it? Everybody having something on someone else. But maybe sometimes that's exciting, but yeah, I just didn't sit right with me this week, and I think maybe the spectre of Shona and Kit's night together, the fact that we got these somewhat unintimidating goons who still got the whole gangster. I've never been a fan of anything gangstery or Damon and Harvey. And that
only
back
like
again,
disorganised crime. So Kit arranges to meet Matty in the precinct, in the alley. He goes, I've got a message for you, come here. He headbutts him, which I thought was fantastic. I was like, this is great.
Yeah, there were a couple of moments this week, in a bit of a low week, where I was like, eh! And that was the first one. The second one was Sally finding out about the kiss with Carla and Lisa. But yeah, it came out of nowhere. It wasn't just a simple, usually when somebody's roughing someone up, they might push them against a wall or something.
So it can get quite erotic sometimes with Coronation Street, doesn't it?
But this was just an all-out headbutt, which was brilliant. And you kind of pointed out that Kit was just the right height.
Kit's the perfect headbutt height.
Yeah, right on the bridge of the nose.
Woomph.
Yeah. But again, he is playing such a dangerous game.
Well, yeah, because it could get really nasty. He says this later. So he says, like, leave David alone.
He's just getting too cocky. I mean, people do it, don't they? You do get these people, not just police, loads of people in positions of power who are abusing their position, and they think I can get away with it. So in that sense, that this could be completely normal. But as a viewer of it, you're thinking, why on earth would you do this?
Who are these people that can tolerate such anxiety in their lives?
Yeah.
I need some of this in my everyday life. I need some of this energy of, like, not caring.
Yeah. Just thinking you'll get away with things.
No, I think everything I ever do. If I go through an amber light that was amber for too long, I spend the next 2 weeks waiting for a letter to say I've gone through a red light, even though I haven't.
Well, every time that we drive through with the average speed check, and there's a flipping lot of those rounds here recently, I'm like, did I go over 50 on average?
Definitely went over 50 a little bit then. Are they gonna find me out?
This is why I could not be a bent cop.
And meanwhile, we're just driving in the slow lane and, like, vans are passing us going twice as fast, and we're like, how are they doing this? Do they know something we don't know?
Yeah.
Anyway, so
when this does all blow up in his face, I'm gonna watch it with glee. And I hope that he's made a few more enemies that can also join me in a smug smirk as he gets.
I find Kit fascinating.
His badge ripped off his chest or whatever happens. That's more of an American thing, isn't it? But you get the idea.
Hand in your gun, Kit. You're off the case.
Yeah.
He says, stay away.
There's going to be great Saturday. It's going to be Swain, isn't it? One of these days, Swain is going to ask him to give her his warrant card. And that is going to be a moment of joy. But I think still with Kit, I'd still be worried that he'd go away and he'd just use his time off of work to plot some kind of horrid revenge on her.
Probably.
Right. Anyway.
He warns the Warner Brothers to stay away from David.
It's a warn-off.
Shona tells David what she's done, and he says, sorry about all that. And she says, ugh. Typical. So David then thanks Kit for warning Matty, and Kit says, look, this could actually blow up, If Harvey finds out I did this, it could get really nasty. And David says, well, why did you do it in the first place? Why did you put your neck on the line for me? And he says, well, Paul said you were a good mate.
Yes.
Which is easier than I shagged your missus and I feel bad about it.
I thought that was a good save from Kit. Because I was wondering, he's going to have to explain himself to David here. Why is he being so nice? Because this is a massive risk to take.
Well, yeah.
That is a perfectly serviceable excuse. Paul's my brother. Remember that? And you used to be friends with him. Remember that?
Used to be cellmates.
Yeah, we still friends. Corrie doesn't really go so much on those at the moment, but it's nice to bring it out when you can. I'm still waiting. We got where's the Sally and Gail friends scene on the run up to this wedding? Has Sally been involved in Gail's wedding to Jesse at all at this point?
Does she even realise?
No, she wasn't even on the quiz last. She wasn't in the quiz. She wasn't at the pamper sesh at the salon. It's just bizarre.
Yeah, Gail's had 2 hen dos for no reason, and she didn't invite Sally to either of them.
Yeah, maybe Sally's got secretly harbouring some grudge against Jesse. At least Audrey's got the good sense to air it in public, but Sally's probably just seething.
There's a secret trifecta of grudges against Jesse because Eileen's still got an axe to grind.
Yeah, we didn't have any Eileen this week, did we? It's the odd fun snippet, but yeah, I really hope that we get to see something with Sally and Gail in the lead up to the wedding. I hope that Sally is at the wedding. Can we just have Sally at the wedding? I'll be happy with that. But the fact that we did have Sally on screen today means that maybe Sally Denver is back in another little filming block. I can but hope.
So at the end of this episode, Shona and David agree that they are going to stick together no matter what, and they still love each other.
Oh yeah, because they still love each other. So that's just reminded me. We're getting up to the point soon where they were filming when we went up, aren't they? Because I think when we went up on the Thursday that week, they'd just been filming Gail's wedding scene the day before. So we're gonna, I don't know that not that we saw any filming when we were up there.
No, that's right. Yeah,
it's nice to know that our presence will be just ever so slightly off screen when we get to watch Corrie in the next couple of weeks. Anyway,
some of our breath molecules
may be on screen when we were heavy breathing outside the Coronation Street gates.
Right, so Friday, Daniel's jogging to Firestarter by Prodigy, and I do know that song.
Why wouldn't you know that?
Well, because we never know any of these songs, do they? They always pick some song, and it's supposed to, and it, like we go, I've never heard of this song, and then we get 100 letters and messages from people saying, this was a deeply meaningful song for millions of everyone knows this song.
Maybe Daniel's going to be doing a bit of arsing about, maybe.
Around.
I really enjoyed the very first, was it the first shot of this episode or close to it?
Kit in his dressing gown?
No, that's disgusting. No, the Rovers sign in the puddle that Daniel then stomps through. That was a very arty shot. I don't know who directed that today, but yeah, I liked it. Very nice.
Right,
just want to, celebrate everybody.
Daniel sees Kit kissing a random woman.
Yeah,
outside.
We thought it was Daisy. I couldn't remember who Kit was supposed to be with at that point, but yeah, he's had a floozy round for the night, hasn't he?
And Daniel goes straight back and tells Daisy what he's seen, and she looks a bit knocked, but she's like, "Well, we're not actually together, so he can do what he wants." But she's clearly annoyed. Then we get Gail having. She's thanking everyone for a lovely hen do, and she's arranged a pampering session at Audrey's. And even though they're supposed to be working, they all just pull a sickie.
Yeah, this was David's reaction to this. I think it was David, in that, seriously, is that all it is? That felt a little bit meta, because it's true. It felt like, a commentary on the fact that whenever anyone does anything like, oh, we're going to have a special meal, then it's either at the bistro or speed dial, or here, oh, we're going to have a special pampering session. Oh, it's at Audrey's. Oh, we're going to have a special, anything. Going to get a special newspaper. Oh, it's at the cabin. Not that they film anything in the cabin these days. Obviously the location budget isn't what it once was, but it is a bit of a pants special thing, isn't it?
Well,
to have it at your family business.
That Carla and Swain got to go to Chariot Square for their pamper sesh.
Yeah, although that, again, nothing special about Chariot Square these days.
How could you?
There isn't.
Right, so Jesse tells David he needs to get a new set of wedding rings. These days, how could you find rings at short notice? They're all in rage, aren't they?
Rings?
Yeah, 5 gold rings. Everyone's getting them for Christmas.
Yeah, you don't need 5, you only needs 2.
So
you just need to do what we did. How much did my wedding ring cost? It was
like 50 quid, and your parents were really mad.
I think it was less than 50 quid.
No, I think it was 50.
Do you reckon? I thought my wedding ring was like less than 20.
They were really mad about how cheap it was.
My parents were mad. Yeah. I thought were you not mad?
No, I'm the one who said, do you really want us to spend a lot of money on your ring because you're not bothered, are you?
I wasn't bothered, but I kind of wish that I had been now.
Really?
Yeah, no, I think that, no. At the time,
what do you want?
Well, I don't want to change it now, but I do kind of regret not splashing out on a bit of a fancier ring. What's this made of? Is it?
It's silver.
It's not. No, it's not silver.
Oh, well, what would you have different?
I don't really know.
The thing is, though, this is just a plain silver ring.
Yeah.
You could spend £2,000 on it.
Yeah.
And it would look the same.
No, I think it's fairly cheapy material, but yeah.
You can have whatever you want.
Well, no, I don't want anything now. At the time I was like, whatever, it's just a wedding ring.
Oh, that's sad.
No, but it's, I thought that, there were other things that were more special to me in our wedding than that. But actually, I've definitely grown very attached to it. For want of a better word. No, I do want it.
Cheap?
No, I just wish that I hadn't been so stupid before our wedding. Just
listening
to a little marital fallout here.
Was because they said it wouldn't last a year.
Did they?
Yes.
Well, it has.
I don't see why it wouldn't. It's just a bit
14
of metal.
years and still going strong. I did nearly lose it the other year, but yeah, no. Anyway,
the
moral of this story is it's worth splashing out on a nice wedding ring if you're marrying someone who's lovely like Gemma or Gail.
Okay, well, sorry. What a regret.
What?
So he's going to get a pair of wedding rings, and he's
I've got away
definitely
with
going
that
to
one.
pay more than what you think you paid for yours. But there's a spreadsheet somewhere that will tell you how much exactly you paid for it.
Oh yeah, there is, isn't there?
So they're all in the salon later.
He's still got all the cash, hasn't he? He's got David's bag of cash, isn't he? He's putting the deposit down on the house. Hopefully he's saved a little bit of it for a rainy day.
Rainy ring.
Like your wedding rings being stolen.
So all the girls in the salon getting pampered, got the glass of fizz, and Audrey is still putting digs in about marrying one of Eileen's cast-offs. And Gail's like, no, we're in love. Me and Jesse are in love.
It just felt a bit pointless, that scene. It was in a way it was nice having all the plats together, and what does Audrey say? All 4 generations together. But yeah, there's nothing generally wrong with
she
having
just goes on
character scenes, but
about sloppy seconds and
yeah.
stuff. And when Gail goes to the loo later, Audrey's still banging on about it.
If they'd used that scene as a proper like family bonding, or let's reminisce on some classic Gail moments, some classic clip show scenes, or anything, that would have been quite nice. But they didn't really. It was just, in my mind, more of an excuse for Audrey to have a bit of a snipe.
Jesse's bought the rings again. He shows David a picture on his phone, and it's the 2 rings that got nicked. I'm really confused.
Well, no, the Warners have just sold them off. They're pawned them off to
and he said, look, I found these rings. They've obviously been sold by the people that nicked them, so I've called the police. Maybe they'll catch them. David tries to talk him out of it, and then has to confess that it was him, that there wasn't a robbery, and he just pawned them. Jesse's absolutely fuming, and he says...
No, he didn't pawn them, did he? Because the Warners took them.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Jesse's fuming, says he's going to tell Shona and Gail about it, and then David says that Kit's already warned them off, and that he suspects Shona's having an affair as a distraction. And Jesse's like, well, I want that money no matter what. Oh, no. So, in the pub, the girls go, don't they?
Well, the factory lot, yeah.
No, the plat ladies go.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And they said that they should get people to make a goodbye video for Gail.
I say just go on Coronation Street YouTube, because they put a very nice Gail compilation video, didn't they, in the run up to her wedding. It was it was lovely little 8-minute jobby. Very nicely done. Lovely to see some classic Gail clips from over the year. I think it was Dom in the archive who told us about making that, didn't he, when we met up with him the other month. It was very nicely done.
Yeah,
if you haven't seen it, get
Lovely.
onto YouTube and watch it and reminisce over 50 years of Gail's.
So also Daisy flirts with Adam to make Kit jealous.
Mm-hmm.
And then he tells her he was jealous, and he wants them to go together.
So Kit and Daisy are back together
kisses
again.
him, and she's like pleased with herself.
Yeah. So
and
Daniel's...
also David tells Jesse that David tells Shona Jesse's asked him to be the best man.
Yeah, bizarre. What?
And also he finds a box of aftershave in Shona's shopping, which I thought was for him, but she hides it because maybe it is for him, or maybe it's going to be a bit of a Love Actually situation.
I think a little gold heart locket situation. Yeah. So you got a few things to unpick there. So this aftershave that Shona clearly didn't want David to see. I mean, we're going to get a scene on Christmas Day now, aren't we, where he's unwrapping his presents and there is no aftershave there. But the question is, has she got it for Kit? You know, is she still
That'd be
harboring?
such a weird thing to do.
Yeah, is she? They're like, thanks for the shag. Here's some aftershave. Is that what you
have to do? Is it?
I don't know.
Don't have a first before Christmas then.
Yeah, or you know, she could just be giving it to anyone, but he could still. I think he's gonna think that she's giving it to Adam. Basically,
what's gonna happen? Here's my prediction. What's gonna happen is, she doesn't give it to David, but she gives it to somebody he does, like maybe Roy. And then at Christmas, Adam gets it because Sarah bought it for him. And Sarah and Shona bought the same aftershave because they all went shopping together.
Could be.
So when Adam gets it, David sees that Adam's got it and assumes that it was Shona that gave it to him because they were having an affair.
Yeah, I think you're onto something there. I think you could be right. Yeah, so
I've seen a Christmas episode with a snafu about presents. I know what's going on.
Oh yeah, like Pancake all over again.
Pancake.
Yeah, so there was that thing, and then you also got this whole best man malarkey, which is how can you get to 3 days before the wedding and you still haven't decided who your best man is? Why has that been thrown in now? Why did nobody mention? Jesse hasn't had his stag do yet, has he?
Maybe.
Is it just that the hen do's happened?
Maybe he was shy and he didn't have a good time to ask David, but he knows he's going. So he's like, you are going to the wedding, aren't you? Yeah. Okay, well, that's handy.
I just think it's utterly bizarre that anyone would leave it this late.
Jesse's got like a really horrible son that's not coming now.
Do you reckon?
And so
maybe he was hoping that John the Parrot would fly back in time to be a best man.
When you're asking somebody who's your backup to be your best man, you don't say, you're not my first choice.
You're not the first choice. It was going to be a parrot.
It was going to be a parrot, but he's flown away for Christmas. I didn't know they did that.
Oh, maybe. We'll get to the wedding on Wednesday and the celebrant goes, anyone got any reason why this man and woman shouldn't be wed?
Yeah.
This is when John the Parrot flies in and goes, "Wah!
No!
He's already married!
Ah!
Or, he's having an affair with me!" Or, I don't know.
What else would he say?
I'm not sure. But there you go. There's my out there prediction that John the Parrot is going to come and disrupt the wedding.
Every
Only
time
on Coronation.
you say John, though, I think John the Baptist.
Don't think that John the Baptist has been invited to this.
Surely it's a standing invitation for anybody who's mentioned in the Bible as a goodie to come to any Christian ceremony.
I don't think this is going to be a Christian ceremony. I think it's going to be somewhat secular.
Oh.
But yeah, maybe, yeah.
I thought that Gail was like a massive Christian and that's why she could only remarry when her previous husbands died.
No.
Oh,
but
I didn't know.
You never know. Could be wrong. Maybe they will they'll have the wedding breakfast after the ceremony and they'll take off the cloche and there'll be the head of John the Baptist there, ready for the first
Brian,
main course. I don't know.
Her first husband.
What?
His head.
Why Brian's head?
Because it could be anybody's head, couldn't it? Any of her previous husbands, apart from Martin, he's not dead. But Brian's the first, so if any head's going to appear, it should be his.
Okay, this conversation's getting a bit weird, so
do you know how much of this I've had?
What, your
Quite
snowball?
a lot, yeah.
Are you a little bit 3 sheets to the wind here, Gemma? We're only one story into this.
Why is it 3 sheets to the wind? Is that...
You're right, you must be at least onto your 7th or 8th sheet by this point.
When you say 3... this is to do with naval stuff, isn't it? It's to do with being in a boat.
Who do you look like? Peter Barlow?
But it must be naval. But whenever anyone says 3 sheets to the wind, I just imagine some drunken housewife putting her washing out and just 3 of them just fly away. And she's like, I don't even like this. I don't even care about this washing up any of my stuff.
Anyway.
I didn't like those sheets and they can just get lost.
Do you have any strong feelings towards this story? But it's funny because this is the story, both of these, I was singing its praises last week. I really enjoyed all the drama with the car and who hit Shona and... and all of the cover up there and Gail's wedding and the Eileen ruining the quiz. That was all good stuff. But this week it just didn't hit me in the same way. How are you enjoying it?
Like I said before, I've said this many times, I don't find... And I didn't find the hospital scenes with Frankie and Lauren to be compelling the first time around.
We're not talking about that story.
I thought you were you asked me about this.
No, I asked you about the Gail and David story.
Oh, I thought you were talking about this one.
It's all right, everybody.
Interested.
She's had her snowball, and I think she's ready to move on.
Because
to the next story.
on to the different notes.
Sorry, okay.
And then you started asking me questions.
Right, okay. Let's move on from Gail and David.
I don't know what I needed
Jesse.
to add.
I know. I just wondered an overall impression of that story and whether it's holding your interest. Next, says Gemma. So, Frankie, yeah, seriously, I just can't... You're right, it's just... it's wall-to-wall
How
misery.
is this?
Hospital after hospital scene.
This doesn't feel really significantly different than the other lot. I know that now we've got the different... Oh, he needs a donor. But why couldn't we have skipped all the other stuff then and gone straight to this one?
What about him? What was he have wrong with him before? I can't remember.
He was
'Cause
too
after,
early.
Yeah, when he was nearly killed in the womb.
It's really,
wasn't
can I say, it's so rude to arrive early before your hosts are ready. Because if somebody gives you a date or a time when you're supposed to arrive, that's the earliest.
Yeah, Frankie.
If you get there before, you're just going to be hanging around while they're, painting the nursery and stuff. It's just awkward.
It was just so much misery. And this was another story last week that I was kind of excited and invested in and wondering, what are the Deerings planning? What's their plot for Frankie? And they're being set up as these massive villains at the moment. But I'm kind of on the side of, just take him away.
They've got a point, really, beyond just the convenience of him not being in the show anymore.
I mean, I know that you probably would say this if you were in Lauren's position, but you can't just say, you must be bad because you raised a terrible son like Joel. Or sorry. So there's a bit of nature and a bit of nurture and a little bit of probably he has had external influences other than his parents that turned him into the bad guy that he was.
I don't see how anyone could do clear cut. It's the parents' fault on Joel here.
No, so I honestly.
They
I don't know that this is too controversial or not, but it feels like that Frankie would probably have quite a nice life living with the Deerings compared to being brought up in prison by his terrible mum.
Everyone seems to want to say that Lauren's a really great mum, but the extent
Show me the evidence.
The extent of her amazing abilities of mummage is to crying over his crib, which I think any woman would do. I don't think it bears any relation to how good you are at being a parent.
Yeah, no, look, seriously.
She's only had him out of hospital to look after by herself for about a month. And that's not her fault at all. It's not her fault at all, but it's not a demonstration of great parenting that she's only had a month. And what did she do? She didn't kill him. That's just the bare minimum.
In general, I am all for, obviously, children staying with their parents. And she's not a terrible mum. She's not shooting up heroin and anything like that.
We'll give her a year.
But she's just a dull character. And I think that Frankie is weighing her down as a character. It's certainly not enhancing her. It's not making her a better, more complex, interesting, or indeed fun character to have a baby. I just need something. She's got this cute little cherub bundle of joy, and she's still miserable about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course she is. But they've written it. This is the thing. They've written it to be this way. It's all very well and good to say, you can't say that. Of course, she would be sad. Yada yada yada. Yeah, I know that. If this was real life, but this is a fictional character. It's been written on purpose, and they could have written anything. Literally, they could have written anything happened to her. Like she could have won the lottery. But they didn't. She's back in hospital crying over the baby's crib. She got like a month off.
I cannot think of any character in recent memory that's had such wall-to-wall misery.
And why are they doing it as well?
As her.
Like Kate Fitton could do so much. She's great when they make Lauren smile. Although it scares me at first because I'm not used to seeing it. I think she's baring her teeth like to attack. She could do anything, but again, no, just crying over a baby. Yeah. And it feels...
and they didn't build her up as a nice enough character that we feel sorry for her.
Well, you can feel sorry for her because you know basic human decency, but the whole point
what's that?
The whole point of the show is to make you empathise and to pull at your heartstrings. You can't just take a blank slate, which is what Lauren is. That's like the best you can say about her, really. She's a blank slate.
The worst that you could say is that she was a former member of a far right wing
who's never apologised for being a racist, and also, you know, her baby seems to be a bit racist too because she wouldn't hold Dee-Dee's hand. As soon as she put her hand in there.
Dee-Dee today, but reached down to Frankie's
like,
hand, and the baby's like, "Yoink!" Not
to be clear, that's a joke. Please,
Frankie is not a racist baby.
We don't know. There's no evidence one way or the other.
No.
But yeah, so they've taken a blank slate, like to be kind, and just thrown misery on her, and it's.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of goodwill built up for Paul, for example. So when they had him have his terrible disease...
But even Paul was, you know, a kind... Yeah, he's been in it long enough that you cared.
Yeah. And
you cared about the people around him too. And we quite like Max, but he's not a popular character at the moment.
No.
So I don't care about Lauren because she's Max's girlfriend.
No.
Who else is there? Dee-Dee. I mean, Dee-Dee's being quite cold and remote to Lauren still at the moment to protect her own emotions. But Dee-Dee's the one I care about the most in this storyline.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, and you know, you had your scenes with Dee-Dee and Ed and Michael, and I thought that was great. Like that we've seen over the years, they've got a really strong family bond. I believe that they're close.
Just imagine this story, if you will, if Dee-Dee had decided to have her baby, and that baby was the one in the hospital with aplastic anemia, needing a bone.
Yeah.
Marrow, whatever.
This is no
That
more...
would be so much more. You'd care about that. You'd be worried about it. And then Lauren, as the parent of the child who perhaps was a donor, that would be interesting because she seems like the sort of character who wouldn't necessarily fall over herself to immediately offer her child as a sacrifice.
I mean, you can compare it to Leanne in the Ollie story, can't you? And I felt, you know, even though Leanne wasn't necessarily our favourite character back in those days, we've certainly grown to love her more since then. But the performance from Jane, I mean, but Kate's been putting on a fine performance. Great. But the fact that Leanne was a character who we had known for long enough so that when these tragic things happen to her, you kind of... you know, you're rooting for, that works so much better. It's they're just trying to expect us to feel sorry for someone just on where the merit is she's a lovely, beautiful young mum.
It just feels like a massive misunderstanding of what makes a good soap character. It's not the fact that they have adversity thrown at them, it's that we care about them before that happens.
Yeah.
And so it feels so disheartening to have to say this every time, though. I
know we probably feel like a broken record about this, but I do also wonder. Again, we've spoken a number of times about, you know, was Lauren's character suddenly hurriedly thrown together when Millie Gibson left Coronation Street, and how much of this would have been Millie's story? Sorry,
we don't know.
R. Kelly's story. Who knows? But I think
I doubt it.
I really don't know. But I think that if this was Kelly going through everything that Lauren's going through, we'd have known her for 5 years or whatever by that point, and I think that the story could be exactly the same, and I'd have a whole lot more sympathy for it.
She just like really, she just has never apologised for anything that she was involved in.
It would need a lot more than an apology for me.
Well, I know, but she doesn't even acknowledge it. Like if this was a story that made her think. It kind of reminds me, it would have been a great opportunity to do a similar thing they did like with Sarah, where she has a bit of a breakdown about the baby because Sarah was convinced that Harry was like inhabited by an evil spirit because of Callum.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, it's a testament to the good, strong mental capabilities of Lauren. Like she's the most mentally healthy character in the entire show, that she's not blaming herself for what's happening to the baby and saying it's all my fault because I was a white supremacist who helped aid and abet of the stabbing and a bombing.
Yeah. Look, we've kind of already we've torn this story apart. Let's at least run through what happened.
I just really wish Lauren could have a chance. You know, I think this show is not giving her a chance.
It's really, really, really not. It's just thrown her from one thing to the next.
She's like the poor little matchstick girl, isn't she? It's like, I don't know who this person is, really. Literally, I don't know who Lauren is. All I know is what's happened to her. And it's all been terrible.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and again, in a way, I'm thinking, I kind of hope that she gets sent down. And that's bad. Unless we're supposed to feel that. I don't know how we're supposed to feel about Lauren. I think we're probably supposed to be rooting for her.
I mean, you know, as a human being, if she was a real person, I'd have a lot of sympathy for her. And I'd be rooting for her to get through this, and I hope her baby is okay, and I hope that she doesn't go, you know. But at the end of the day, she is a fictional character. I don't really like her. She did kill somebody, and these grandparents who seem to be loaded and actually care about the child probably would be better off with them, because
these poor grieving parents who just lost their only son.
I mean, I know he was an arsehole, but I don't see why Lauren and Dee-Dee are so high and mighty about them saying that they've raised a terrible son and it's all their fault and they should have known, when they both didn't know. Well, I mean, unfortunately for Lauren, she found out a lot sooner than Dee-Dee did. But Dee-Dee had no idea what Joel was really like.
No.
And people pointing the finger, there are plenty of people who, when a criminal is found out or recovered, like a serial killer or somebody who's a man, people always blame the wife and say she should have known. That would have been Dee-Dee in just a few weeks if she'd gone ahead with the wedding like she said she would. But she's quite comfortable to say it's all Mama and Papa Deering's fault for raising a horrible...
Just because they've been a little bit scheming.
They clearly had no idea. But they're scheming. What are they scheming for? To take custody of a child who's living in a prison?
If you put yourself in the Deering's shoes and to kind of from afar and look what's happened, I want to save my grandchild from this skanky,
she's got no
racist girl who's in prison for murdering my son.
Yeah, she's got no. She really. I mean, she hasn't had a chance, but that doesn't prevent the fact from being true that she's really got no emotional regulations at all. She hasn't learned how to control her temper. She flies off the handle. She's being told by the doctors and nurses, oh, we're going to look for a donor, and she's like, no, it's not good enough. I don't want my son to suffer.
Well, there was the scene in today's episode, wasn't there, where the nurse or the doctor, whoever it was saying, right, in 2 weeks we're going to start to look for a donor. And she's like, no, I need you to look for one now. Although to be fair, it's like, why 2 weeks? They just got to wait for Christmas to come over because nobody can be bothered to do it.
I totally understand what she's saying, but it would have just come differently from somebody who wasn't Lauren, because then it would have been a one-off, like, yeah, you're emotional because this is a terrible situation. Whereas this is just more of the same from Lauren. Her and Max just not being able to regulate their emotions because they are young, but they're also trying to take on a lot of stuff of responsibilities that they're not really prepared for. And yeah, the Mama and Papa Deering are maybe a bit evil in this situation.
Just a bit.
Well, you would want always, in the best circumstances, for a mum and a baby to be together. That's what everybody wants, right? But when in this fictional story where you've got Lauren in prison who's killed the father of this child, who did try to kill the baby first, to be fair, and the Deerings who really haven't done anything wrong apart from being a bit rude.
You could be forgiven for understanding.
You might think to themselves, you might think, well, maybe for stability's sake, considering that no matter what happens, if Lauren's in prison in 18 months, Frankie's going to go somewhere else, and who knows where. I mean, when Max was trying to sort of nudge for custody, he didn't say, well, the Platts have been in it for years.
Yeah,
so the chances are that we will be still in the show in 18 months is fairly high.
Yeah, more likely that the Platt dynasty is going to live on compared to the Boltons or the Deerings.
I mean, that's fair enough, but that's in the show. In real life, the Deering... Oh, I don't know.
Look,
it's really controversial.
We've already torn this story to... I hope that, we don't have too many people who are really, rooting for Lauren in this whole story.
All of the listeners who are... white supremacists who murdered their child's baby who are in prison and also up against aplastic anemia and the grandparents of the child trying to take custody. I hope you understand where we're coming from here and don't take it personally.
Well, I hope that, we do occasionally get the odd curry writer or behind the scenes person listening to this, and I don't want to hurt their feelings either by tearing this story to shreds, but people always tell us that we've got to be honest.
It's not
about... not pull your punches about what we think. And this storyline is a big to me.
I don't know how your feelings, but toilet flush sound.
Not working.
It's not... They can't all be winners.
No.
But some people watching this loving it. Surely. Yeah. I don't know.
And they've probably switched us off.
I haven't heard
just spent
from
the last 15 minutes ranting about how terrible it is.
We'll just move on to the next one now.
No, we've got to run through actually what happens because we've been talking about it without going... So... Frankie's potentially got you. The first thing is brought up is leukemia, isn't it? Which is one that you thought he might have. But no, what we all learned this week is aplastic anemia. Severe aplastic anemia is what he could have. So he has to have a bone marrow biopsy on Monday to find out what's going on here. So the Deerings are showing up at hospital as well. Max tells them to bog off. And they're saying, look, we just want to support Lauren however we can. And Max says, well, you can't. Go away. We don't need your help anymore.
Nobody's asked them if they've got any match. Are they a match? Are they too old?
I don't know. They could be, couldn't they?
I mean, do they... I mean, I know they don't have any other children. They don't have any other children, but they might have brothers and sisters who have children.
Maybe.
There might be, Joel's cousin might be a match.
Maybe.
But they're just shouting at them and telling them to get bent after time.
So Lauren's being told that these full results will take about a week, but they're going to have more of an idea tomorrow whether he's got it or not. Spoiler alert, he does.
Yeah.
And Lauren might be a match because he needs... Yeah, but
I don't know what he needs.
He needs something. He just needs some magic medicine that can be extracted
from
the cells of somebody who's related to him. Basically, that's the for lay persons, which I most certainly am.
He needs some magic juice from your bones.
Anyway, look. Deering's burst into the children's ward after speaking to Max a little bit. There's some fairly ineffective security guards coming after them, and Lauren says, "Look, you got 30 seconds. Say your piece." And they say, "Look, sorry for accusing you about the bruising last week.
Bruising for a bruising."
We can look after Frankie. Prison's no place for a baby. No way, says Lauren. I'm his mum and I'm all he's got. So she sends them on their way, and Gus is like, no, Frankie's coming home with us, actually. We've already applied for custody. Oh, the schemers. So Lauren standing her ground and say, sorry, sick child. He needs to be with his mum. And the Deering say, no, we have the baby. I think they just need to put Frankie on the floor and say, go to the one who you love best. And that solves everything. That's the method that is foolproof.
It never fails.
Watertight, that is. Anyway, they get sent on their way. Max is back with Lauren later saying, I'm going to help you fight the Deerings. And then the doctor comes in and says, we're going to give Frankie a blood transfusion and he's going to need a fortnightly one until he can get a donor as well. So better set up a tent here, Lauren, because you're not leaving this set anytime soon. Dee-Dee...
it's nice for her that she gets to leave prison. It's not going to be difficult for her.
Did we say at the end of... Did she say at the end of today's episode she was having to go back?
Well, she's going back to prison.
Yeah.
But he only needs a fortnightly transfusion. I assume he can leave the hospital.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But, it's one of the main things that parents of sick children have to contend with is transport, logistics, jobs. None of that for Lauren. She's probably glad of the change in pace. Also, I bet you prison doesn't have as many vending machines as hospital does.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. Right, so Dee-Dee is in the cafe later. She was Sarah Louise, and she's feeling a bit maudlin about everything's going on. She's having a bit of a crisis of faith as well. She's feeling cut off from God and saying, "Look, I'm just feeling a bit empty at the moment. I don't know what to do." She's in a bit of a quandary about all the drama and the babies and the abortion potential and all that goes on. But she hasn't got time to dwell on that because she gets a phone call from Max summoning her to the hospital where she is asked to help out with this Let's Fight the Deerings case. So Dee-Dee's one needs to know how much she can get involved with this because she's really been trying to keep her distance recently, hasn't she? What with a little baby Deering that she's got growing in her belly.
Dee-Dee Deering.
We find out as well later that the blood transfusion for Frankie's been a success.
Hooray!
But don't smile for too long, Lauren.
No,
because
no smiles
because
for
you had hepatitis C when you were 13. She's been having tragedies like long before she even appeared on screen. Her life has just been one big misery.
Yep.
That automatically disqualifies her from being a donor.
Yeah. Oh no.
What was
she can't do it.
What was the? I can't remember.
It was the dodgy earrings.
Oh yes, that's
something.
right. Yeah, she went to a dodgy earring
place,
piercing place. Yeah. Go on, Bennett. I just can't be doing with this. So Dee-Dee has a bit of a pray later. Nice.
Honestly, I'm not laughing at the praying. I'm laughing at Lauren. Just this big book of misery.
Just lurching from one to the next, isn't it?
Just one crisis to another, and each one piles on more misery to the next. It's not like unrelated. It's just like one big snowball of sadness.
So Dee-Dee is having a pray later.
Yeah, that was good.
And she prays for guidance, and then God responds by getting her phone to ring, and it's Max saying, "No, come and help out.
Please God, help me. Send me a sign. Ring, ring. Hello?
It was.
Hello, it's me.
It was kind of one of those moments, wasn't it?
No, it's Max.
It is. It's Max saying.
Well, if she was asking for a sign, here it is, because Max is saying
Lauren can't be the donor. Hint, hint.
Yeah.
If only there was somebody else that could be one.
You have to pray for somebody on the transplant register. Honestly, I know this is I know this is just fictional, so please, again, this is not about anybody in real life, but why can't they just wait for the donor? Like most people would be, right, I'm going to go through everyone I know, and if they don't match, we'll have to wait for the donor. Awful, terrible, sad. But because it's Coronation Street, we have to like pin people against the wall and scream in their face for them to not have a baby. I mean, to have a baby so we can have it as a donor.
Yeah, you're right. People are very entitled to organs in Coronation
They
Street.
really
aren't
are.
they?
Like, oh, we need a kidney transplant.
Yeah, who was it? It was Peter, wasn't it?
Carla had a kidney one.
Oh yeah, Carla had a kidney one. Well,
Peter's
Tracy
had
obviously back in the day.
Yeah, Tracy's had a kidney one.
What did Peter get?
Liver.
He had a liver, didn't he? Yeah, and he won for foie gras.
Yeah.
But you're right. Did anybody... Has anybody had a transplant in Coronation Street that's just come from waiting...
Well, wasn't that... Yeah, I mean... Peter's was.
Was he in the end? I can't.
Yeah, because that woman turned up, didn't she? And she was the mother.
Yes, the mum. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
So even in Coronation Street, even if you are an anonymous donor, don't worry, you still get to be in it.
You'll get a shout out. You still get to show up at some point. Anyway, so yeah, obviously you would want a donor.
Of course you would, but yeah, I mean, normally you wouldn't just assume that everyone you know is going to be a donor. Yeah. I don't know.
End of the episode, you got another tragic scene with Lauren going, oh, everything's going wrong. Oh, he's I don't deserve to be his mum. Frankie would be better off with somebody else. Oh, woe is me, says Lauren at the end of the episode.
It's so difficult. It's really hard because I really want to be sympathetic, and I really do feel badly. And I can see, because I've known people like, I've known people like Lauren who are so self-destructive, and they come from bad backgrounds, and they don't know how to cope because they've never been taught any skills. Yeah. They don't know how to be resilient. They don't know how to help themselves. They don't understand not to shout at social workers and police officers and hospital workers because they've never got anything unless they shouted and screamed at people. Mm. But I can't find that in for me to go, I want to hug you and help you get what you want out of life. I just think I'm done. I'm done with you, Lauren.
Wednesday, there's a potential solution when they wonder, you got Maeve, who's related to Frankie. Maybe her bone marrow would fit, or maybe Emily or somebody. No,
not Emily.
No, I'm sorry, not Emily, but Maeve. No, they've gone off the grid.
Well, hang on a minute. I mean, Emily's just as likely as anyone else at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, she could... Isn't what normally happens if you need a donor, don't normally your friends and family like go, I'll go on the list and then we do a donor swap. This is what normally happens, isn't it? No, this is what normally happens. Yeah. You go on the list, you're like, okay, well, if maybe Bonnie's brother might not be Bonnie's match, but maybe Bonnie's brother is Frankie's match, and I'm Bonnie's match. So we do a swapsies.
Okay,
that's what happens.
They should make like a Channel 4 series about that, like wife swap, like
bone marrow swap,
life swap. I don't know, kidney swap.
Well, you have to think about it a bit more.
Yeah, I'll put that on the
to-do list.
Okay.
Come up with a Channel 4 reality show about swapping organs.
Right, Emily and Maeve have disappeared because that would be far too convenient a storyline for that to work.
Can I just quickly say, right? This is what's happened to us. This is probably super offensive and really rude, everything we're saying, but I was never prepared to do a podcast where we talked about bone marrow transplants and sick babies and controversial topics. Like, this was never what I thought. I thought I'd be talking about people having affairs and talking about fashion at awards shows.
Back in the heady days of 2012 when Conversation Street started.
I'm just a normal person trying to make sense of things that are really... Some of these things are completely beyond my ability to be able to... I don't know.
Right, look...
I'm baffled and I'm drunk.
That's fine. Dee-Dee has a go at Anthea in the cafe later saying, you got no right to this child, I'm going to do whatever I can to stop you. And Max overhears this, goes and tells Lauren about how Dee-Dee was a little bit out of control, what's going on there then. And Dee-Dee has by this point decided that she is taking on Lauren's custody case, and Adam's going to be in charge of it in name only because she's too close.
Well, she's not allowed really to do this. She's going to put Adam's name on it.
Yes. Dee-Dee and Sarah go and visit Lauren later, but say, sorry, we can't get in touch with them.
How
that
convenient.
sucks, doesn't it? But we're still going to do what we can to help you keep Frankie. And then Dee-Dee is kind of strong-armed into holding Frankie while Lauren goes to the bog. And she's like, oh, no, my...
A baby.
Yeah, a baby. Oh, that's cool. But I'm just about to have an abortion, aren't I? And Dee-Dee says, look, am I doing the wrong thing, aborting this baby that's inside me? What if it's a match for Frankie? Tell you what, it's going to be a bit of a bugger at the end if she keeps this baby and it's not a match. It's like, what do I do with the baby now?
The way Dee-Dee's handled this pregnancy is she would probably come in and say, he's not a match. Yes, he is. He is a match.
Yeah,
because
fake out.
first of all, she said she wasn't pregnant, then she was. Then she said she's not had an abortion, then she has.
Yeah.
If you ask her if she's had a baby, don't believe what she says, because she could have one in the next room. You wouldn't even know. She's such a good liar.
Well, the episode ends on Wednesday with Dee-Dee saying, look, sorry, Lauren, you can't tell me whether or not I can have an abortion or not. I want to have one, and I'm going to have one tomorrow. And again, I did think that Lauren was...
A bit presumptuous.
Yeah, like, she does not have the right...
You can't just have a baby because
to tell
it's gonna
somebody
be
not to have a baby. Yeah, a baby of convenience.
It's such a big thing.
That's I can imagine, like, Dee-Dee's kid when he grows up and when he's 18, that's the story for the birthday party. Like,
well, hang on. This is a very interesting development story, because there are, I think they're called saviour babies.
Is it? I've never heard of this.
There is a thing where people who have ill children will have a second child, and the child really is for harvesting. I can't think of another
blood
word.
And bone marrow.
The baby has been perhaps wanted for other reasons, but partially, they're there to save their sibling, and it's a very difficult and hard thing to talk about because this child, the reason for their life is not their own, and it must be very complicated.
Yeah, knowing that that's what you were kind of if
you were born
for
someone else, but then
maybe for some people they'd grow up kind of thinking, I've had a purpose.
Yeah, I mean, not many people can say there is a reason for my life, other than my parents wanted a child. Like to say that you were born to help, in a very concrete and measurable way to help somebody else.
But with Dee-Dee's kids' case, if they found out I was going to be aborted and the only reason I wasn't is because they wanted to harvest my bone marrow, that does seem like something to bear a grudge about, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, so leaving Wednesday's episode, Dee-Dee saying that she was going to have an abortion. Were you expecting an abortion on Friday?
No.
Because we certainly didn't get one in the end. We did get the fake out, didn't we? But I thought, no way is she having this abortion. I'm going to string this out for a little bit longer.
You're trying to see how many times you can say that word.
Yes. Friday's episodes has that weird blurry camera effect as from Lauren's point of view as she's being told that Frankie does indeed have aplastic anaemia. Completely unnecessary camera work there. And they're going to have to start looking for a donor in a few weeks. Lauren's like, no, now please, it would be good.
Do it now. Am I glad that I don't like Lauren as much as I don't, because this would be just too tragic. Because this is a horrible story. I just want to acknowledge that this is just a horrible, horrible, sad, tragic. I can't think of anything worse. Like having a sick baby is like one of the worst. Horrible, horrific.
Yeah.
Really Christmassy.
So Christmassy and joyous. Lauren and Max are talking about Dee-Dee's potential baby and how she'd be a match. Max says, look, I'll talk to Dee-Dee. And Lauren said, no, we probably can't get her to not have an abortion. That's a bit rude. But they're going to have a go anyway. Michael has booked his day off work to help Dee-Dee with whatever she needs for the abortion.
Can you imagine booking that day off?
Yeah, that's what you fill in on the form.
What, are you going to do some Christmas shopping? Yeah, just say yeah. So
she's arranged. Dee-Dee's seeing the Deerings, isn't she? And she wants to apologise to them for how she spoke to them yesterday and says, look, please, can you stop? Can you just drop this application to take on Frankie? But she doesn't get very far with it because she has to keep dashing to the loo. What was that about? Was that
she's
just
being sick? She's got morning sickness.
Oh yeah, okay. I didn't know whether it was pre-termination
Sorry, love.
nerves.
I've got the runs. I can't speak long.
I had a massive curry last night.
Really dodgy curry. It was really gross. I want from speed dial though.
I wonder, how are the Baileys coping in a post-Aggie world with their food? Are they just like discovering the joys and delights of properly cooked meals for the first time in their lives?
Well, I tell you what, Marks and Spencer's have started doing an onion bhaji topped shepherd's pie. And I can imagine the Baileys going, oh...
Reminds me of Mum.
Aggie would have made this with strawberry jam on the side.
Which does raise the question, does Aggie know anything about what's going on here?
Aggie doesn't care.
Aggie, Dee-Dee didn't do anything wrong. She didn't become a massive gambling addict.
No.
It doesn't make... I hope that it'd be nice that there would at least be recognition that possibly a phone call or maybe Aggie's favourite bazoon has taken place.
Can we just say that Dee-Dee has had an incredibly big year, and, Shanique Sterling-Brown has been in the show more than anyone else, I think. I don't know what the rankings are at the moment, but she has, for somebody who's only been in the show a few years...
She's got to be up there.
She's been kind of carrying it on her shoulders this past year. So if say, come, January 1st, they have a Bailey's, toast, whatever, and then she says, I'm going to stay with Mum until the baby's born, I think we'd all say, yeah, you probably should go stay with your mum, take a few months off.
Yeah, the family were so close, and Aggie was so caring and warm.
You would think that she would be there for her kid.
You'd have thought that she would, be able to put her grudge that she's clearly got against Ed, which I don't buy, but I get why they had to engineer it into the show. I think that she should probably be up there supporting her. But hey, Michelle didn't show up for Ryan when he got acid in the face, so... I guess if you're a mum on Coronation Street, if you've moved out the street, then suddenly you become a cold, heartless cow. I don't know. Maybe Aggie's having an affair or something. Who knows?
Maybe. She's probably got another family.
Yeah. So Ed finds out about this pregnancy later because the Deerings tell him, and he's very supportive because he goes up with Michael to see Dee-Dee, and he's like, look, just do whatever's best for you. But he goes along to the hospital with her, and this is when you get the fake out where Dee-Dee comes out and tells the Deerings that she's had the abortion, but actually we learn later that she hasn't. She couldn't go through with it, and she couldn't say why. As she was leaving, I quite like that she kind of picked the Bible up from the table, and I think that's the kind of... It's nice that she's got that she's got as a possible reason as to why she didn't want to go through with it. But
that would be her interpretation.
There's one of many reasons why this abortion wasn't for her, and I think that it works that she didn't have it character-wise.
I know, but just if there's nothing in the Bible about don't have an abortion. In fact, the Bible's quite pro-abortion, really.
Is it?
Well, it's like, yeah. It doesn't, like, if you kill an unborn child...
I haven't looked too deeply into this.
Well, it just kind of like... I think there's a line about the baby, that like God breathes the soul into the baby when it's born or something.
Oh, I don't know.
I didn't really mean it's pro-abortion.
I don't want you to be
The Bible doesn't say don't have an abortion. When it speaks about unborn children, it treats them as lesser than, born children.
Yeah, okay. I think that Dee-Dee kind of, talking about the sanctity of life and everything definitely gels well with her Christian faith.
Well, it's a very well-established thing that very religious people are anti-abortion. I'm just saying it's not a foregone conclusion, and Christians can certainly, have their own reasons why they don't see it as a conflict of faith.
Yeah. But anyway, look, to cut a long story short, because we have been ragging on this story for quite a long time now. Dee-Dee's not had an abortion, and she's decided that she is going to try and help Frankie by getting the bone marrow out of it or whatever, and everything's going to be fine, basically. And Ed and Michael find out about this at the end, but I think the Deerings still don't know, do they?
Well, they told them that she had an abortion.
Yeah, exactly. So are they going to back off now?
No.
Or are they going to find out and then try and steal the baby?
How can she be involved in representing Lauren to try to prevent the Deerings from taking custody of Frankie? How can she do that when she's pregnant and she told them she's not?
Well, she is only going to be... She's representing, but she can't show up in court, can she? Because is Adam going to have to do that bit?
Adam's going to be crap at this. You missed the big bombshell, which is that she said she's putting the baby up for adoption.
Oh, yeah, she did, didn't she? I missed that. She's going to change her mind about that, though, really, isn't she?
She's like, I've put it up for adoption. Only joking. That was a fake out. I mean,
just for a bit of a cliffhanger there. Yeah.
I did find it very interesting that when Dee-Dee was saying, I'm gonna have a termination, I can't keep the baby, Ed and Michael were like, it's your choice. It's up to you. We'll support you no matter what. And then she said, well, I'm going to give it up for adoption. They're like, no, you're going to regret it. Don't do it. That's too drastic. No.
She's not going to put it up for adoption. No way.
I don't think she will.
I don't think so. No. Anyway, that was that story. What did you think, listeners? Did you really love it? Write in and tell us.
Oh, God. What have we said so many horrible things.
It just didn't work. It didn't work for me.
No, but I mean
I want to be feeling Christmassy and happy and joyous.
This is above my pay grade.
That story didn't leave me feeling any of those feelings, unfortunately.
I'm just struggling to empathise.
Let's talk about the positive and loving relationship between Carla and Lisa, which has taken some steps forward this week. Gemma, swallow their pride. Back to you. And I know that you've got some big opinions on some of the goings on at the bistro during this story this week. So,
what happened?
The handsy guy.
Oh, I didn't like him. I don't have big opinions.
You did when we were watching the episode.
Yeah, I know.
Right, go on.
Right, so Monday, Swala's looking up.
Swain.
Oh.
They're not a Gestalt entity. They do separate at some point. And this part of it, Lisa, yeah.
Well, they're going off to have a spa day, aren't they? But Swain's still looking up police stuff on the database.
Yeah, he's looking up.
And Carla's like, no, don't look. That's enough work for now. We're supposed to be having a spa day. Let's go to our room. And Debbie sees them on their way and like, oh, isn't it lovely to see pals off together? And then I kind of wanted Lisa to be like, pals. We're not pals.
Yeah,
we're really good friends.
Swain's about to correct Debbie.
Well, she says it's usually just couples.
Yeah.
And then Carla's like, let's just leave it at that, shall we? And they go to the room, and Carla's like trying to give Swain a massage, and she's like, look, can we talk about this? I don't want to be. What did you avoid telling Debbie about us? And Carla says, I don't want it to be gossip. I don't want it to come out like that. And so they have a bit of a canoodle. And then Carla says to Lisa, I do want to be together. And they hold hands, and she says, look, can we just tell people when I'm ready, on our own terms. I don't want people to sort of find out. And then she says, do you want to spend Christmas with me? Because Ryan's going to be in Ireland with Michelle. And Lisa says, that sounds great. Although how it's described sounds like the worst Christmas ever.
How do they describe
it? Because be in pyjamas and eat takeaway. You can do that any day of the year.
No, that seems pretty nice to me.
Well, you can stay here and have it then.
I did think...
Why, can neither of them cook? Is that going to be the joke? Can neither of them cook?
No, but it's fine to have a takeaway on Christmas Day if you want to. You just want to have a relaxing, lovely time together.
Can't you make a roast dinner? It's so simple. It's Christmas Day. Don't make out that it's unreasonable to say on Christmas Day we will have Christmas food.
Oh, okay.
This just felt like another extension of the whole "isn't it funny when women can't cook" trope, which is not funny. It's everyone should be able to cook.
Right. Look. Let's. How did you feel? Was either of them more in the right than the other about this?
We haven't got to the big conflict.
Okay. Well, let's wait until we get there then.
So on Wednesday, Swain comes in to the factory to look for Carla, and Sarah says, well, she's gone for lunch hour with a client, and they're like, oh yeah, so hunky, or Carla's getting in there, oh, she's dead lucky, and Swain's kind of smiling, but she looks a bit annoyed.
Yeah, she gets a touch of the green-eyed monsters on Wednesday, doesn't she?
So she goes into the bistro, which is where Carla's got this client.
Yeah, I can't remember what his name is. It was Greg or it was Gary. I think Gary.
Flirty Gertie. So he is just touching and smoozing.
Gemma didn't like this.
And all over her, and she's wearing a silly hat.
Silly hat? I think it looked
I did
very
not
chic.
like this outfit at all. She looked like a trucker witch. I didn't like it. Anyway, so he's like, you look gorgeous, and oh, you look gorgeous. Oh, let's get wine. Oh,
and he's holding our hands, and he's like saying, oh, I hear that Peter's off sailing around the world. Has anyone moved in?
Are you single?
Yeah.
Oh, you're glowing. You look wonderful. Is there a new man in your life? And she's like, no. And then her phone rings and she leaves. And then Lisa has been sitting there seething this whole time, goes over to him and goes, "Keep your creepy, touchy hands to yourself. And if you don't, I'm going to arrest you for sexual harassment." And then Carla comes in and she's like, "What on earth do you think you're doing?" She's not happy with Swain at all, because she says, right, number one, he's married to a man, he's gay, and there's nothing going on here. And this man sees what's happening, and then he kind of like goes.
Yeah, he makes a hasty exit.
And he kind of like, he does kind of rub Lisa's nose in it before he leaves. And Carla says, "You are possessive and jealous, and if this carries on, you can just quit this. I'm not having this at all."
Were you on Lisa's side here because you also thought he was being massive perv?
I don't care if he's gay or not. This was really disrespectful to like be flirted. They were still flirting. It doesn't mean people flirt with people they're not sexually interested in all the time, right? But it's disrespectful to do it right in the face of your partner.
Yeah, I think
if I did that with a man who was gay in front of you and you were mad, I would think that was totally justified, because it was just touching and stroking and complimenting and flirting.
Carla could at least had the decency to have warned Lisa what this guy is like and what their relationship is like.
Also, this man is gay. Why couldn't Carla have said to him, "That's my girlfriend"?
Because she doesn't want everybody to know.
Yeah, because she didn't want gossip, and she didn't think people would understand. This is a gay man who knows no one. He's not been in the show.
No,
do you think he was going to run back to the factory and go, "Guess what, everybody"?
No, I think that she's still not ready to tell anybody.
She was by Friday.
I know. Well, she had a very quick change of heart by then, didn't she? After having more words with Lisa. But no, I think that. What do I think? No, I don't think that she should have mentioned it to that man. But I just
thought, oh, he's gay was such a cop out. Like gay men. So what? A gay man can't.
Yeah, gay men are all right to.
Like, it's got nothing to do with whether he was gay or not, because you can flirt with anyone. It doesn't matter whether they're gay or straight or married or whatever. It's still flirting and stroking and touching.
But sometimes that's how business relationships
But I also
work,
think that this,
they?
like Carla, I know sometimes she does this a little bit, but this was like completely beyond anything she's ever done before.
It was over-egging it somewhat, yeah.
It was like...
And you're right, it was disrespectful to do it in front of Lisa.
I know that some women do this for business, but I just feel a bit like... It reminded me of that... This is a bit of a deep cut, everybody. But there's an episode of The Apprentice where, you know, at the beginning they separate them into men and women.
Yeah.
And in one season, at the very beginning, the women go to a market... Everyone goes to this market. And
I know what you're talking about.
Is it a meat market or grocers?
I thought it was the sausage one.
They have to go and purchase materials to sell, which is, you know, the basic element of all apprentices. And the women win because they flirt with everybody, and
get good deals,
and they charm everybody. And then when they come back, they get ripped to shreds by Alan
Sugar.
Yeah, but who's the other one? The lady, Karen. She was like really upset with them, and she was saying, "You are making women in business look terrible."
Yeah. By
doing this, and I'm in two minds about it really, because if you can manipulate a man into giving you a deal, I think that's his fault. But equally, it does really look bad for everybody, all the other women, because women always get tarred with everyone else's brush. To use that, but she's not using her sexuality on him because he's gay.
Yeah,
I don't know. It just really rubbed me up the wrong way, because I thought it was so in your face, but it was really just a plot device to make Lisa to create the tension between the two, to make Lisa kind of step up. Because really, from Lisa's perspective, I can see her point, because she didn't know that this was not welcomed by Carla. Carla was playing along, but as a woman, and Lisa would know this because she's a police officer and a woman too, sometimes as a woman, you're forced to play along with somebody creeping on you and flirting with you because you have no choice. Because you're in a situation where you can't back out, and to have said something would have caused a ruction or put you in an unsafe situation. This is not that it looked like he was ever going to be unsafe with her, but like this, you know, being trapped in a bar with somebody who's drinking and coming on to you.
This
She
is
was
something
just
that we know
protecting her.
that Lisa has got strong feelings about, though. You know, she kind of sided with Amy somewhat
Yeah.
over the whole drink spiking thing. She's very anti men being leery and being like this guy was, but I still think that maybe marching over and sticking her neb in and doing what she did was also taking it a little bit too far. And I
She's
certainly
being protective.
I certainly didn't agree with Swain later in the episode, where she was really trying to strong arm Carla into coming out and being loud and proud and telling everybody about their relationship, when it's still
We
very
totally
new for
have
Carla.
opposite feelings on this because, like, I can see Carla's perspective too. Like, she's a grown woman. She's been doing this for years. This guy's her friend. She can do what she wants with her friend. It's none of Lisa's business. I can see that perspective too. And Carla's had to fight really hard to get where she is. And if a client of hers wants to grasp her hands and tell her she's glowing, and that's how she gets a business deal, instead of what usually happens, which is like having to fight tooth and nail for everything. I bet she'd rather do it that way.
Yeah.
But then when you're saying about...
It doesn't hurt that the guy is hunky and attractive as well. Because you also had that Mr. Hamlin. Do you remember him? The client in the wheelchair that was like kind of a recurring character.
He was a grumpy man.
He was grumpy, but he was also like kind of leery and
I don't
nasty.
remember.
Yeah, he went through a stage at the end.
What, of being a pervy?
Yeah.
Anyway, so they go back home, and Carla says, "I smoothed everything over, but can you please explain why you went off on one?" And Lisa's like, "Look, I just feel like you're in denial and you're ashamed of us." And Carla's saying, "This is a big deal. I've got to get my head around this. Everyone I care about knows, but everyone else doesn't. So what?" And then Lisa says, "No, listen, I'm not hiding. I think that to not come out would be to give in to your prejudices." And Carla says, "Okay, fine, I'll be out and proud."
Yeah, I just think that Carla needs to be given as much time as she needs. This relationship has not been going on.
Different opinion.
This relationship has not been going on that long. It's a huge lifestyle change for Carla. It's like nothing she's experienced before. It doesn't surprise me whatsoever if she thought that she'd be, you know, the subject of gossip or that people would be making fun of her. I mean, so far that hasn't happened. But I think that Lisa was really out of order, pretty much saying you need to tell people. You know, she's been out for years.
Yeah,
but
that's why
she must have known that it was probably quite difficult for her when she came out the
but
first
she's
time.
Like, I don't want to be back in the closet. Her perspective is, look, I've had to fight to get where I am. I've been a lesbian. I've been out as a lesbian for however long she said. I can't remember.
Long
20
enough
years.
to have a daughter with another woman.
I've been married to a woman. I've seen, you know, as a woman of her age, as you know, similar age to us, a bit older than us, she's seen gay, like, it go from you wouldn't say if you were gay to people being outed or like coming out of the closet. Like if a pop star said they were gay, it was in headlines, and everyone made a fuss about it, and they lost fans. And you know, and Ellen coming out, and everyone throwing their arms up, and people, you know, saying they were evil, and then not being able to marry, and then having civil partnerships but not true marriage, and then finally winning equality in marriage. And that's all happened over the course of Lisa being out and gay. And then she gets a new girlfriend who, this is new for Carla, but Carla's now saying, no, we have to hide who we are. And Lisa's like, no, but this is part of who I am. I don't want to be hiding myself. This is back to the bad old days. It reminds her of when she had to for safety. Now she lives in a completely different world, and she probably never thought for 1 minute that she would have to go back to pretending that she wasn't in a relationship with a woman.
I
know what you're saying about Carla, but the also on the flip side of it, Lisa saying, look, I'm not going to be in the closet for you. If you want to be with me, we're going to have to be out and proud. And like, Lisa, you do not know who you're talking about, because this is Weatherfield and anything could happen. Everyone could be really supportive, but also you get gossips and people talking about you and scurrying around and sharing stories.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Carla's has any cause to be worried that people are going to be looking down on her or treat her differently or making her a pariah or anything.
The thing is about it, even if people are supportive, it's still a matter of conversation. And you can see that just on Twitter. Even the people that totally support Swala, they talk about the relationship all the time, right? So this is what it would be like even if you're being supported, if you're Carla, you don't want people talking about you at all.
Yeah. I just think
on
that
Twitter,
maybe...
say what you like, but, in Weatherfield, I would find it really hard if I knew, even in support, people were talking about me.
Yeah, but maybe Carla's the sort of person that doesn't really care.
I don't think she does.
I don't think she does care what people think. But I just think it's such a huge shift, if you like. When she's had all these years as being the man-eater, and she's got nothing to be embarrassed about. But I think it's just to me, even it's I'm not saying it's easy these days to come out, but it's definitely. I think more easier than it was, for sure. I think that it's a big step, and Carla should be the one that decides. And if Lisa has got those strong enough feelings for her, then she should wait until Carla's ready. They've not been going out for that long.
The other thing to consider also from the perspective of what you're saying is that these are all Carla's friends and colleagues and workers that they're talking about. They're not talking about don't tell Kit. They're not talking about don't let everybody at the police station know. Carla's literally saying, like, I don't want us to walk around. I don't want us to go up to the local hotel owner and tell her that we're gay. Because these are all people that I know. Can I be in charge of telling people I know and you be in charge of telling people that you know? That kind of makes sense.
Is there any element that Carla's still not completely 100% sure that what she's feeling is actually true? No,
I think they've gone past
and
that.
And I know that they've been to bed and everything, and she seems very comfortable and happy with it.
Yeah.
But is there a case of if I tell everybody that we're
There's
a couple, there is no, I've got to commit to this now, and maybe I'm not completely sure. I don't know.
I don't think that's part of it. I just think, like you said, it's such a big change of what she's done before, and it's in the best will of the world. It's still, like I said, even if everyone's supportive, it's still something that you remark upon.
Yeah,
because it's different and it's a change.
Yeah,
and you can't say that it's it's not a negative thing to say this is different. So it's really interesting. I'm really interested in what Swala fans think about who they think was right or wrong, or what they think, because I've seen quite a lot of, it seems like Swala fans are really sensitive and switched on, because I don't see a lot of what they talk about, but when on Twitter sometimes when I scroll through I saw like a really nice post about how I think Carla thinks this and Lisa thinks that, and they're not, neither of them are wrong, but they just it's just this is why this is interesting, a relationship, because there's conflict where you can see both sides.
I can absolutely see Lisa's point of view, and it would be mega frustrating.
Yeah,
of course, but I still think that she should she should let Carla.
Well, Carla's decided on Wednesday that she's going to.
Yeah, but was it because she was kind of strong armed into it?
Well, I don't know. But how would you feel if you're Lisa and you've gone out with your girlfriend for a nice spa day, and then your girlfriend's like, "Oh no, we're not dating"? Wouldn't you be like, "Well, excuse me, what do you mean?"
It's not like Lisa is a dirty little secret or anything.
But that's what she feels like.
Yeah.
Oh, the drama.
The drama.
It's really it's a really interesting story because of the conflict, and it's also nice that they are uniting to solve the problem rather than kind of arguing about it like most of the other couples would.
Yeah, they haven't had any little split ups because of it, have they?
They haven't. Like, normally this would be like a week of like not talking.
One of them sleeping on the
sofa,
one
of them going and shagging somebody else.
Yeah.
So on Friday, Sally asked her what she's doing for Christmas, and Carla avoids it because I assume she's embarrassed about having takeaway.
Well, yeah, I think it's more the company that she's keeping.
Yeah. Then they decide to plug. Kurt decides to plug the Christmas lights in, and as soon as I saw a close up of the plug, I knew that it was going to cause a faulty power cut thing. So They
basically needed to come up with an excuse for everybody in the factory to not be at work in the factory on Friday, rather than the usual burst water pipe excuse that they use for the school.
Or the roof collapsing.
Although we did have that happen in Southampton this week. I don't know whether it's still going on, but we had massive water problems, and there was at least like 10 schools that were closed because of, not my school. But so I stand corrected when I say that never really happens in real life when schools are closed for burst pipes on Coronation Street. I know it's an annual occurrence at Weatherfield High, which is maybe a little bit beyond the realms of possibility, but it has happened here in Southampton this week.
Well, they have they've restored it now.
Oh, good! Thank goodness for that.
But it was down for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Keeps happening, that
Big
does.
water drama in Southampton.
That's why we've got to pay more for our water next year.
Yeah, just because we're by the sea, it doesn't mean we're immune to problems to do
seagull,
with yeah. Anyway.
Right, so Lisa joins Carla in the factory and they have avocado together, and then Lisa convinces Carla to let everyone go home early, which is quite fun. So they all go.
I was expecting Lisa and Carla to get busy in the stock cupboard or something like that when the lights were out, and then somebody to come back and discover them.
Oh no, I didn't even think of that, but yeah, that would have made sense. So everyone gets a bottle of gin, so they take it to the factory.
Christmas gin present, yeah.
And they start drinking it.
That was fun.
Without not letting Daisy see. But
I don't even know how Daisy. Why didn't she spot it straight away? Because they weren't being too subtle about it, were they? Like, shh, don't let Daisy see that we've got the gin.
She's busy working.
They had to make it loud enough so that we, the viewers, knew that what was going on, but somehow it still, Daisy was able to not notice it.
So
it was quite fun.
Daisy realises and chucks him out.
That was, and we got some great Dirk moments there. Didn't we? Dirk was there, standing at the bar, kind of also acting along to what was going on. He had an amazing...
Dirk, yeah.
What do you think it was?
I thought you said Kirk.
No, Dirk, silent Dirk from the factory, who had a very loud Christmas jumper on and a very flouncy pink sparkly hat on.
Cowboy hat.
Yeah, and brilliant that Dirk got a bit of centre stage there. He's pretty bit.
And do you think he gets a whole bottle of gin as well? Do you think he got a miniature?
I don't know. I would say don't give him any gin at all, and he's not going to say anything about it, is he? Because he doesn't ever speak. I messaged Adam Blees earlier, who plays Dirk, and apparently it was Jenny McAlpine's idea to put him in that pink hat.
I didn't know she was a stylist.
She is. She's Dirk's stylist. Yeah.
Right. So Daisy kicks them out. Meanwhile, Betsy has stolen Sally's gin because she got a bottle of lemon or something. Lemonade.
Make it sound like it's a bottle of Jif lemon for her pancakes. It was lemonade that she got.
But she swapped it for Sally's gin, so she goes with Mason in the precinct. It gets completely plastered. Tries to kiss him. Throws up in a bag and has to be dragged to Sally's.
I'm not the biggest Betsy fan, but I did quite enjoy watching her today getting sozzled on the stolen gin. Especially the fact that she was risking throwing up over Sally's beautiful carpet and sofa.
Oh, it's only what is it? Mop dry or whatever she said. Sponge dry.
Yeah.
Sponge wash. Anyway, there's an after party, but I'm going to say I wouldn't have gone to this one because it was Bobby, Fizz and Kirk going back to Carla's flat together. I don't know what they were planning.
I mean, I would love to have a private party with Fizz. Kirk, I could probably tolerate, but yeah, the fact that Bobby was there as well is just, no.
I don't think. I think if I was...
That's probably why, how many were at the factory lot were there at the pub? They managed to shed quite a few members.
Let's all go back to someone else's house. Yeah, cool. And Bobby's like, my house. Everyone's like, oh, I'm busy. Right, so they end up in Carla's flat. Bobby. And Lisa comes out to see what's going on, and she's wearing a dressing gown, and Kirk's completely oblivious, but Fizz immediately picks up on what's going on.
I thought that Kirk was oblivious, although he does say later that he maybe suspected something, doesn't he? But it seemed fairly obvious to everybody apart from Kirk at the time that there was something was going on there, and Fizz is very tactful and
Fizz
says,
is like, we better go, let's leave. Where did they go? Never find out.
They do. They go to the bistro, don't they?
The bistro. You're right. Yeah. That's
right. This was another Fizz was very let's go. She wasn't shocked at all. Not in the same way as
Fizz.
Not in the same way as Sally was. Sally's thought that she had prime gossip here when she finds it out later, and it was brilliant.
Wow. Carla and Swain come out of the bedroom and have a glass of wine, and again, very cute. she's like, I think everyone's going to be gossiping about me before the day's over now that they've come home and seen you and your dressing
This
gown.
was definitely proof that Carla had made peace with the fact that people are going to find out, because it was Swain that came out, which was bizarre. If I was in bed with my girlfriend in Not My House, I'd probably be the one hiding in the bedroom and say, Carla, can you go and tell your nephew to...
But you can just imagine, I could just imagine if there had been a cut scene of like Carla and Lisa in bed together, and they're like, Lisa's like, somebody's in the front room, and Carla's like, nobody's supposed to be back, and then Lisa'd be like, you go, it's your flat, and then Carla's like, you're the policewoman, you go investigate, any kind of strange noise. Look, as a couple, we've got to agree right now. You're the one that investigates the strange noises, and I'm the one.
Yeah, if we got any intruders,
that orders the takeaway. So anyway, they're having a glass of wine, and she's like, "Yeah, okay, I think the cat's out of the bag here by the end of the day." Speaking of which, here's a phone call from Sally. So they go round number 4 together. They get dressed first.
That would have been a little bit of a big clue, wouldn't it?
They were both wearing what looked like to be the same dressing gown, which made me laugh because Carla really has no imagination when it comes to clothes. She's bought 2 dressing gowns and they're both just black plush dressing gowns.
I would say, how many dressing gowns do you need? But I do have 2 dressing gowns of my own.
Do you have 2 or do you have more than 2?
No, I've only got 2 dressing gowns. I got my red one and my blue one.
Yeah.
But I don't ever wear the blue one. The blue one was bought for staying at Dad's house at one time, wasn't it? And then I don't need it anymore because we don't stay there very much. But yeah, Carla having 2 black dressing gowns.
Hilarious. A typical Carla.
Yeah, well, like my mum said when she was on a deathbed to my sister, if you find 2 pairs of jeans that fit, if you find a pair of jeans that fit, buy both of them.
Buy 2 pairs.
You never know. Yeah, I'm butchering this quote from my dead mum. I'm sorry. Yeah. Basically, my mum said, if you find something that fits, buy 2 of them just in case.
I think if you
and maybe that's what Carla was once told. Maybe as Johnny was there drowning in the cellar, he sent a telepathic message to Carla saying, always buy 2 dressing gowns.
Blop, blop. Black is a great colour for anything.
Carla already knows that.
Right, so they go around there and they prize Betsy off Sally's sofa, and Mason is sort of apologetic and feels bad, and but Sally convinces him to stay there for Christmas.
Well, it's a little
He's
Christmas
technically
miracle.
Homeless, I guess. I've lost track of what I'm supposed to know about Mason.
But yeah, he's going to be staying at the Metcalfs over Christmas.
Watching Die Hard with Tim.
Yeah, I think redemption complete there.
The Metcalf family Christmas. Yes. Congratulations, Mason.
I hope that we do get some nice Sally and Tim and Mason scenes. I just want to see Sally really at Christmas, and Tim can come along if he likes, and I suppose Mason. But
it seems like on Coronation Street, there's only 2 ways for you to go if you're a villain. You either get completely absolved and turned into a normal character who will feign ignorance if you point out that they were a murderer or a bully or a racist or anything.
Zombie
or
knife.
you get murdered.
Yeah.
By somebody else.
No other option.
No. Or you go to prison very, very rarely.
Yeah. Well, right. Rowan's... is Rowan in prison? Did he get prison? Mm-mm. I can't remember.
No, he hasn't been sentenced. They haven't mentioned anything. They said he's going to be sentenced another time.
Okay. I don't think we're going to hear about it.
No. Somewhere. Right, so they dump Betsy in the back of a taxi, and then Swain and Carla are like, oh, we're going on a proper date tomorrow. Oh, yeah, okay. And then Carla sees Sally come out and start froofing around.
She's adjusting her wreath, isn't she?
And Carla gives Swain a kiss, and Sally sees this, and her jaw just drops, and she just immediately runs in the house like she's gonna tell Mason, and Mason will be like,
it's like she's going through her phone book now, just telling everybody.
Can you imagine the reaction then? Because she would have run in and told Mason, and Mason would have been like, what, Betsy's mum? Yeah, I know, she's gay.
Yeah, Sally was 100% the perfect character to find this out. I mean, I know that Fizz technically kind of found out, but yeah, Sally getting the gossip and... Well,
I feel sorry for Sally because she rushed into the bistro, she finds Kirk, Bobby and Fizz there, and she tells them, and they're like, yeah, we already know. She's like, oh, what? But she gave the little speech. She's like, what did she say? As the mother of a representative of the LGBTQI plus community, I can say I authentically saw.
We didn't have any scenes of Sally and Carla after this, did we?
No, but Monday.
Come on. You've got to have a scene
Connor,
with Sally, yeah.
Mrs. Connor, could I have a
giving
quick
her
word
full-hearted
with you?
support.
Yeah, like, I want you to know that I am an ally. Like, can you imagine she comes in with a little rainbow badge on, like going,
yes.
Nah?
It really writes itself, doesn't it? Come on, don't let us down Coronation Street. Let's have Sally being full on ally mode on. Which, I mean, again, could that make Carla feel a bit more uncomfortable? And if Carla had been saying, I didn't want people to find out because they'll be gossiping about me or making a fuss, if Sally's there trying to be helpful, does Carla say, look, I don't need it drawing attention to, just let me live my life?
It's such a weird idea, isn't it, to like think that somebody would be, I'm going to wave a special flag because you've got a girlfriend.
Anyway, so that story was all quite fun. I'm glad, despite the fact that they were having disagreements, and I definitely thought that Swain was being a bit pushy. I'm glad that they've kind of come
I don't
out
think
with
she's been pushy. I think she's been very reasonable, and she's setting out her boundaries in a firm and clear manner.
Okay. Well, we've got Christmas, we've got New Year's coming up.
What Christmas miracles await us?
It feels like there's going to be some nice romantic scenes between them.
Right, here's my biggest question, and I hope that they do explain this. What takeaway are they going to have?
Well, I say KFC, go Asian style. That's what they're like.
Japanese.
Yeah, that's what Japan. Japan on Christmas Day.
In this family, KFC Day is the 23rd of December.
Yes, that's your dad's birthday.
My dad's birthday. He always
we're
wants
having KFC this Monday.
So we can't have it on Christmas Day. What is a Christmassy? I think in America, it's usually Chinese food. So I think quite a lot. I think
that Carla's probably a Chinese eater. I think that she'd go for that.
First she's a man eater, now she's a Chinese eater.
I can't see Carla like having a pizza.
No, I don't know. We've had this discussion many times in our relationship that I don't consider pizza as a takeaway.
Didn't they have this discussion before? Because Carla wanted sushi the other week, didn't she? I can't remember what Lisa
wanted a kebab and some iron brew.
Well, maybe they'll have that. Maybe they'll combine it and have some iron brew kebab sushi session.
Oh, can you imagine a nigiri with some doner meat on the top?
Right, let's move on. So a couple of tiny stories we've got for the rest of the week. The Ches Gives Chase story is basically the follow-up to what's going on with this money that the abattoir are trying to give to the Battersbys and Chesney to shut them up about any kind of wrongdoing that was involved in Les's death. So they basically, the offer has been upped. It was £50,000, wasn't it? Now they're saying, look, take £60 and shut up.
£60?
£60,000, sorry, and then shut up. And
see, I think this is a very busy time for abattoirs, isn't it?
Well, yeah, if you're a turkey abattoir.
Well, any kind of meat. Everyone's buying meat of all kinds.
Yeah.
So I think I would have
said, got time for long, drawn-out legal battles. It's just take the money and shut up.
Would you have tried to negotiate again? I would have said 75 and we'll call it quits.
I think that that was the big issue, wasn't it? Because they said that the HSE report could clear the abattoir of any liability, then they'd lose everything. Chesney's the one that's saying Les's life is worth more than £60,000.
What's it worth then?
I'm gonna say not necessarily Chesney. This is Les Battersby here.
You wouldn't have got anything.
Not Hilda Ogden.
If he'd walked out of that abattoir, crossed the road and got run over, you wouldn't be getting anything, would you?
Battersby sisters, though, would rather take the money and run now. It's a bit like, it's a bit of a new deal or no deal situation we got here, isn't it?
Toy's broke.
Toy's broke. Toy's broke. Thanks, Leanne, for that. But then so's Chesney. He's mega broke, and I think he's massively looking a gift horse in the mouth. Or is he just being greedy?
There's broke, and there's broke with kids.
I mean, because Gemma finds out later. Gemma's back. She's got a new hairdo.
Gemma's come back with a friend that she's wearing on her head.
She's got a friend and a fringe. And Chesney's like... he's going on about this whole Les thing. What should I do? What should I do? And Gemma says, no, we just sign it. We need the money.
She didn't know, right? So she doesn't know on Monday all the way through.
She finds out at the end, doesn't she?
Yeah, he's like, he shouldn't get away. They can't get away with it. This is terrible. We need justice for Les. And Gemma's like, just sign this bloody thing. Let's get on with it. Because
she knows it. I just don't get what Chesney's thinking.
But this is him all over. This is why I hate
It's
these
the same
two
with
characters.
the Freshco's
They're
debacle,
the same
isn't
thing.
it?
They get offered stacks of money, and then Chesney says, "I'm too good for this," and then he ends up with 2 jobs that he can't possibly do properly, and he'd rather do that. So he's too good to take money from for advertising and money for a for a settlement, but he's fine to do a 0 hours contract where you get treated like dirt by the employers and the customers.
I can't remember. I meant to rewatch the end of Monday's episode because I can't remember the outcome. Did they actually get the money? Did the sisters?
We didn't find out because
I thought
they go to
someone's going to
they've got
correct
the
us on
lawyer.
this.
The lawyer's there. The sisters are there. They're about to sign. Chesney bursts in and says, "Don't do it. It's a bribe. It's wrong." And they say, well, Leslie would have taken the money.
Yeah, but then Toya comes round to number 5 at the end of the episode, and I think that she says, "We've signed it," but I may be making that up. I don't know.
Gemma then finds out that it was 20 grand each, but the thing I don't understand is how it's possible for them to sign an NDA but not Chesney, because surely it's all or none.
I don't know.
How have you bought £20,000 worth of silence from two people?
Because I think that Chesney... is it actually to do with him? Because he's not...
Yes. They all
because he's not blood related to Les.
We haven't been really told whether they had to sign on their behalfs. Like if one had to sign for all of them, or what, or if it's irrelevant whether he objects or not.
I don't know.
They haven't really made this clear. It seemed to me that it's all or nothing.
I was really rooting for this story to make a grand comeback this week, and it kind of just disappeared off a cliff at the end of Monday's. Like, I hope that we're going to find out. Well, there was, was it just a case that, like the guy said, he slipped over and that was it? But I don't know.
So what, they've spent 60 grand, 40 grand, we don't know, on telling Toya and Leanne to keep their mouths shut about this, but the bloke from the factory didn't sign an NDA, come around telling Chesney. Chesney hasn't signed an NDA. Everyone else knows what's happened. What's to stop them all from saying anything? Just because, Toya and Leanne now responsible for keeping Chesney's mouth shut? I don't think so.
The story...
This is one of these things where it's unnecessarily confusing.
Yeah.
Coronation Street has made this unnecessarily confusing.
I wish that this... I just wanted this story to be a story, not Laura.
Do Leanne and Toya both get 30 grand each now because Chesney didn't sign anything?
I don't know. Literally, we should watch the end of Monday's episode again.
But I'm sure that Toya just came and said, "We've signed it."
Somebody will tell us. Right, Wednesday, the story goes off. It veers off in another direction because this blooming grey van appears on the street again. So Chesney gets in his car, gives chase and corners him down to Freshco's. And we see Chesney kind of lurking around next to the van later, and he's got a bag of sugar. I thought that for some reason he was going to do the whole thing where he punctures a hole in the bag of sugar, attaches it to the van somehow, and the van leaves a sugar trail which leads him back to where
smarter.
that was in my head exactly what he was going to do. But it turns out later when he gets home that all he did was empty the bag of sugar into the petrol tank, and Gemma's like, "What the hell did you do that for?" And Chesney says, "Well, I've been walked over all my life and I'm not going to let him do it." And then it kind of goes away.
Again,
he says he checked that there was no CCTV, but I was probably going to come back to him at some point.
Again, an idiot move. He does this all the time.
I thought it was fun. I quite enjoyed him looking a bit sneaky around the car. I got little glimmer of young, 8-year-old Chesney there, because he was a prankster. The very first scene, if I remember rightly, that Chesney was in Scylla's house, and Chesney was pulling a trick on Fizz. And I know that almost all sense of fun has been removed from this character long, long ago, but I just got a tiny little glint of tiny little Sam Aston when Chesney was pulling this prank, and I quite liked it. But yeah, sadly this story didn't go anywhere else. I'm ready for the van saga to come to an end now, because it's just being drip fed.
Chesney is just he takes the moral high ground when it actively goes against his best wishes, and then when it will be the worst idea ever, he suddenly becomes a vigilante. What is wrong with this kid?
Speaking of the Battersbys, Gemma, do you want to remind us of what's been going on for older Leanne and Toya this week?
Well, Nick is going on holiday without Toya, and he's taking Sam because Leanne's plan worked against all the odds. Makes no sense how she pulled this off. and
managing to get Sam signed.
She really did
away
go
from
and
school.
get Mrs. Crawshaw to just let him go on holiday for a week for no reason, even though technically he would be on holiday now. So.
Well, it was only like 2 days of school that he missed. And they were probably just watching videos.
And for some reason,
but it's the principle of thing.
Like Toya is just no match for Leanne at all because she's got no sneak in her whatsoever. She could have just gone anyway.
But equally, I've said this week, and you said that I'd said it before, that Leanne is being completely blind because she's pulling all these pranks, pretending that Nick's sending her love messages and whatnot, when Toya, she knows that Toya could just text Nick and say, "Oi, why are you inviting Leanne to be your +1? Why are you telling her that you're missing her?" And all Nick has to say is, "I didn't do that," and then the gig's up for Leanne.
No. Right, number one, Leanne doesn't care. She's got nothing to lose. If they find out she knows, so what? She still had her fun.
Yeah,
number
but she
two,
wants to really drag it out.
Number two,
I would.
Nick has to be convincing enough that Toya believes him, and he's not. And Toya's already got this, what's it called? Insecurity. So I genuinely think that she wouldn't believe now if Nick said, "No, I didn't do that." I don't think Toya would believe him because she's seen him lie and cheat with her on Leanne.
I wish that they'd show that though.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
It feels like a bit of a plot hole.
I'm buying it more than you are.
Yeah.
They had it before where Toya's saying, "How come you're doing this and that?" And he's like, "No, I'm not," or what, you know.
Right, go on. Sorry, I interrupted the synopsis.
Well,
basically they go off on holiday, don't they?
Nick like, I wish I could come with you. And Leanne bursts in. I was like, what's this meeting I'm missing out on? I'll give you a lift to the airport. Let's go. So Toya like buggers off, and then Leanne again tries to lay it on thick about how she wants to get back together with him.
With Nick, yeah.
With Nick. And Nick's like, I think about it.
I feel kind of yes, Leanne, I'm loving the revenge that she's inflicting on Nick here and Toya. But I feel that it's a bit mean of her to catch Sam up in all this, because she's saying all of this to Nick, or a lot of it, in Sam's earshot. She's kind of manipulating the situation. And poor innocent Sam is getting caught up in it.
Collateral damage.
Yeah, it's a bit mean.
Right, so she's like, we need to stay together. We'll get back together when you come back. And he's like, I'll think about it. They go off, and then Leanne's immediately ordering stuff on her phone in Toya's name.
Prime Picks was the website, wasn't it? That was the Weatherfield
hundreds
Amazon.
of pounds worth of like bracelets.
There's a delicate darling lingerie set and something called Essential Eau de Parfum, which is spelt like essential with sense in the middle of it because it's very sensual. Anyway,
it's provocative.
It was hundreds and hundreds of pounds worth of stuff that Toya is buying with her fake money, or Leanne is buying with Toya's fake account here.
So Leanne tells Toya that she's going to have to work on Christmas Day for the wedding because Nick's asked her to go to
she's
Gail's
saying that
wedding.
Toya's going to need to work, yeah.
Leanne's going to the wedding with Nick as her +1.
Mm-hmm.
So she's going to have to work, even though it makes no difference.
So Toya is going to have to work.
Toya's working!
Yes! Well, you're saying she. We don't know whether you're talking about Leanne or
It doesn't
Toya.
matter because they're all going to be at the bistro.
They're all going to be at the bistro on Christmas Day, ready for a rumble.
And Toya has to stay behind the counter.
Yes.
Right. And then Leanne she's got 2 phones, isn't she? And she sends herself a message from one of them. And she runs up to Toya and she's like, "Oh, Toya, look at this. Oh, Nick sent me a message. How nice of him to let me know. Oh, he's so thoughtful. He's told me that they're there and they've landed." And then she's like, "I was just going to give him a ring." And she's like, "Oh, Nick, oh." And Toya's like, "I'm not listening to this." And she goes off. And Tracy's at the bar ordering a drink. And she's like, "I cannot believe this." She says, "You know something? You might be more evil than me."
Well, Tracy has, she has lost her evil streak.
Well, she did kill somebody.
Yeah, I know, but she's been a bit mellow, hasn't she, over the last few years? So I think that, it's definitely not a stretch to say that Leanne has overtaken her in the devious stakes.
But I do think, there are only so many times that Leanne can tell Tracy that she's a Battersby and Battersby's are well odd. This is like the second or third time
I
now.
don't care. Love it. Love it.
So the plan is still going ahead, isn't it? Of stitching Toya up.
Yeah. When's this going to come to a head? Do you think it's going to be before Christmas that Toya's going to get in trouble?
Well, on Friday, she's moaning to Amy and Leanne, as Toya, that she hasn't got any money. Then later on, Leanne's like, oh, this wine order seems to be more expensive than I thought it would be. And Toya says, oh, do you want me to look into it? She's like, no, you're too busy. Amy can look into it for me. Here you go, Amy. You investigate. And then she goes off, Leanne, and she transfers some more money to Toya's secret evil account.
Yeah.
So it looks like she's going to stitch Toya up to make it look like that she's been changing invoices or like making things look like they cost more money, charging the company and then siphoning it off into her account and then buying darling lingerie sets.
It's so mean. I'm loving this so much. But as long as I got the proviso that Leanne and Toya will make up again at the end, I don't know how it can happen. But yeah, I'm thinking this is a lot
Wishful
of fun.
thinking, that is.
And I hope that it turns out to be something
Is that
very
everything?
explosive next week. That is it for this week's Coronation Street. What's your thoughts on scores and characters of the week this week, do you reckon?
Well, you know, too much Frankie.
That really did let the week down for me, and I still wasn't, like I said, I wasn't a massive fan of the plait action either this week.
Well, I wish there was more Gail, because a lot of people seem to be taking back seats in their own stories, which is kind of annoying. Because even Chesney in this stupid van thing, is lots happening there. I wish that was I don't know. I think maybe I give this week. I think 3.5.
Okay, 3.5 what?
Stolen bottles of gin.
Who's had the half a gin?
Me. It's always me.
You start just drinking it in the factory and you're like, I'm going to get caught here, and then run away.
I'm going to go and...
Okay,
I'm going to go and have a side. We're going to see you later.
I'm going to give this 3 ho-ho hot pots out of 5.
What a great joke.
What? Oh, Adam.
It's Adam's joke.
Yeah, maybe it works better with his accent.
Oh,
hot pot. Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know if I'm a strong contender for character of the week this week. I don't want to give it to Swain just because I think she was strong-arming Carla a little bit much, but I did.
Stop saying that.
No, but that's what I thought when I was watching it. I had to say it.
I lived Frankie.
No, you're not giving
causing chaos before he's even.
No, Frankie's the problem here. He's made this week miserable. I think. Gail was fun this week for what little screen time she had.
Sally was great.
Sally was pretty great. But again, not
I
a
wanted
major
to
character.
Can I just say,
week.
even though I really liked that scene of her with the wreath, I think the second part was a bit of a letdown, just very slightly, because I wanted there to be more Sally reveling in like her insider
You're right,
knowledge.
actually. Like when am I remembering right? Like earlier this year when Sally found out that Tommy O and Tracy were together, I felt like that she revelled in that gossip for a little bit longer.
Maybe on Monday we're going to hear her try to tell everybody.
She can't wait the weekend.
No.
People are going to know already by Monday. Was she character of the week though? I don't know. I think I might go Carla, just because I like that she stood up for herself when she thought that Swain had overstepped the mark. But equally, I thought that it was nice at the end of the week that she had come to terms with how things are going between her and Lisa, and then she was the one
becoming comfortable.
Yeah, and she was the one that gave Lisa the kiss on the lips, as in to say no, I am okay with this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna say Carla.
Well, I'm gonna say Lisa.
Whoa. Okay, fine.